Well, sure.
So we get a little bit of the
Just a little bit of the riff-raff.
A little bit of the riffy-raffy.
Yeah.
Okay, there's yours. So you're in there now, right? Are you on there? Say something.
Chickadee check, check.
Yep. Yep.
And a check, 1, 2, 3. I plug it in. I make a sound as good as me.
Yeah.
Cause when I check the mic, I fucking check the mic. I fucking check 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. I bit her on the right butt cheek. She
Bitter.
said that I was very, very sweet. We went home together. Never mind the weather. I bit her on the right butt cheek. I just made up a new song. That's going on Zach's new album.
It's true.
Exactly. I knew it the other day too.
Oh, that's not mine.
What was that?
No. I just like singing it.
You just like singing it. What one was it?
Hey, how you doing? I'm doing just fine. I lied. I'm dying inside.
He did make up the other one though.
By Watami Poo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna call it the Watami Poo?
It's my new hit single with Tommy Poo.
Tommy Poo.
It's my latest, greatest follow-up to Put It Back Where It Came From.
There we go. Ready? We are live.
Oh, this is Sessions, and Brandon's a...
Brandon sucks. I'm gonna fire him, and he doesn't even get really work here. He just.
You don't even work here.
I'm not even supposed to be here today. Movie.
Clerks.
Thank you. Well, you are streaming live with us. It is Thursday night. You know what that means? It's Beer Thursday or Drink Thursday. It is Sessions, stream live from Shakers Bar downtown Cape. And as always, Zach is by my side. You notice this is an empty chair over here. Brandon is supposed to be here. He is not here yet, so he sucks. Brandon, you suck.
Yeah.
Is this white shirt going to blind people, you think? It's like a huge...
You always wear the black one.
It's like a suicide from fat people. It's a suicide flag for white people, for black people. Not black people, white people. Fat people.
I think it's a murder flag for
It's a
black
murder
people.
flag from Target here. It's a big suicidal flag for I surrender. All right. Anyway, this is Sessions, and it is Thursday. If you notice, we're kind of sitting in a different location tonight. We're doing a lot of cleaning and a lot of reorganizing down here at Shakers, and one of the things
We're
that
shaking shit up.
we are shaking it up. By the way, T-shirts will be out soon. We will have T-shirts soon, and the T-shirts are going to be. I'm not going to tell you what's going to be on them, but they're going to be pretty cool. They'll be one of a kind because every batch of T-shirts will be their own batch of T-shirts, so they'll be specifically just that batch. And if, in fact, yeah, they can't bring any drinks in. What is he doing? Anyway, but there'll be great T-shirts. They'll be on sale, and then of course all the staff here will get T-shirts, and they'll be available for sale, and they're gonna be pretty cool, kind of one of a kinds. And then when I do a batch, when I do a new batch, won't do the old batch again. It'll be the first and only time the batch comes out. So, what's he doing? What is he doing? Jeez, man.
He's putting the shit back in the car.
Why would you? Seriously, you're coming to. Okay, Brandon is coming to do Sessions, standing at my door at a bar with drinks in his hand, at a bar.
He's our special boy.
I think we're converting him though, like slowly and surely, like little by little. I think we're getting some libertarian out of him.
It's all right. We've just been talking shit on you.
Yeah.
My bad.
Nice.
Ridiculous, man. Ridiculous.
Well, I didn't want you spending your own shit on me.
That's fine. I'm not spending shit. We got it.
Well, that's why.
So,
Oh, God.
here's Brandon.
Hi.
Hello.
What up?
You want to go get a drink before you plug
Yeah, I
in?
guess
Do you
that's probably a
want
good
me
idea.
to-
No, I got you. I get it. Do you need something?
Let him go.
Okay.
Do you want anything?
I'm
Wait,
good.
what's your shirt say?
It says Swamp Drained. It's a joke on Trump. And also...
It's a joke on Trump.
Well, it's,
And also Curse of Oak Island.
yeah, I was
If
going to
you've
say it's
seen
Curse
it-
of Oak Island.
See, the reason that I'm wearing it is because... well, let me mic up for this. Is because the show Curse of Oak Island is all about searching for treasure
Yeah.
in Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
And, last week we were talking about funny shirts, and I thought, no, I'll wear this and talk about it. So
That isn't that the show where they never find anything, but you keep watching.
Exactly.
Why do people keep watching?
Because they're stupid. And
No,
I'm
they
one
must-
of them.
Yeah, I was gonna say you actually
I
keep
said
watching.
they must. I tried to watch. I watched one episode. I tried to watch it, and the whole time was like, "Oh, we found this, we found that," but it's really nothing ever. Have they found anything ever on the
Show's
show?
been on for 7
How's
seasons.
it going, Rob?
They found some interesting stuff, like coins from like back in the day.
Which,
they
if
found,
you dig like they do, you should find stuff.
yeah,
some stuff.
exactly. They found like swages and
I
other
found a
like
rock.
artifacts. They found
Yeah.
a cross from that they dated back to the 1300s, and like it's like a Templar cross or something similar. And so there's a
that's
lot of cool
cool, I
stuff
guess.
that they've found. They've got a whole museum that's got tons of
It's
shit.
only
in
like
it.
700 years old.
Well, they're but
Dude,
there's
the
a
Earth
lot
is
of shit.
only 2,020 years old. Okay.
All I'm saying is there's a reason that they're digging. There's some stories. There's a couple different theories about what they're searching for, but who knows if they're actually going to find anything. They haven't yet. I've been watching for 7 fucking years, and I feel like a fucking idiot.
It's not a feeling, bub.
Yeah.
But you know, you're afraid if you stop watching that episode, you stop watching will be the episode they find something.
I think they just have like a good way of like filming these shows where they keep you watching.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, for example,
It's suspenseful music, as this old guy
It's-
talks about. We finally found the hole we were looking for.
or it's the narrator, and they're like, "Could it be? Did he find this?"
Just
Find
like
out
the,
in a minute.
just like the show Gold Rush.
No, it's a nerdy form of Dragon Ball Z.
Well, we're so
Oh.
Do
easy-
they
fuck
find
off.
it?
Yeah.
Find out on the next episode.
we're so easily entertained.
And
man.
then the next episode is just recap of the last episode.
course.
For like 30 minutes. And,
Mind-numbing.
15 minutes, and the episode's only 22, so does it really?
The lights have never been this close, and they're kind of hot.
Dude,
I can
that's what
feel
I'm
them.
saying.
Even though they're LEDs, I can feel. I mean, maybe it's mental.
I feel it in my bones.
Also, I feel like there's not really a whole lot of air circulation on this side of the building, like there is on that side.
No, thank you for showering, though.
Yeah,
All right, you can go get a drink if you want, man.
of course.
Free yourself.
Oh, yes.
So,
Feeling Rolling Rock tonight?
Oh, I am.
Do you know where it's at?
Yeah.
All right.
he's feeling Rolling Rock. So, how was your week since last Thursday?
Yeah. It's
There.
Yeah.
So now you work in.
Typically, I hate Texas, but lately it's
never-
been fuck Arkansas.
So we never talk. We don't ever say the name of your job. We do that out of respect for
Of course.
your employer. But we can say kind of what you do, which is you sell generators,
I am a power overlord,
power overlord.
and I command my minions to supply power
You can get them a beer if you want.
to
Yeah,
to a slew of different states.
a power overlord. I'm now looking at her in only.
You're welcome.
I mean, that's why when girls pose in like Playboy, they have a hard time getting decent acting jobs and stuff because everybody pictures them that way. Like even Jenny McCarthy, prime example. Jenny McCarthy, who's
Yeah,
on
but
the
the
Masked Singer. A lot of people don't know this about her, even though she's married to the Wahlberg guy.
Of course.
They don't know this about her, but she posed in Playboy back in the day.
Everybody knows that about her.
Oh, they do? So
If you don't, what rock are you
but
living under?
everybody that saw her in that way.
Put it this way:
I mean-
if you don't know about that, you're still using Internet Explorer.
I wish we had sound effects. We could do like the dial-up sound effects right now.
That would be great.
That'd be awesome. That was so annoying. Remember how mad you'd get waiting?
Ma, get off the
And
phone!
now it's like 5 seconds. You're like, what's going on with the internet today? 5 seconds and it's, huh?
What?
Yeah, I know. It's supposed to be that way.
I got it.
It's safety. You're not out.
Well, it's not stock.
Back in the big fridge. Back in the big fridge.
I'll tap in.
All right. So we were just talking about, I can't even, people messaging me and stuff. We were talking about when, like Jenny McCarthy, who's on The Masked Singer, how she posed in Playboy at one point.
Ooh,
And
I saw her.
Did you know she posed in Playboy?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I just think there's probably
I'm a red-blooded male, of course.
Well,
I
I
do.
was going to say, I think there may be a large portion of the population that may not know that about her unless they look her up.
Oh, yeah, no.
And so, yeah, but I was just making that comment because once you see specifically female, because I'm a male, in compromising positions or in lovely night sleepwear or whatever you want to call it, naked, whatever.
Seen Scary Movie 3? She and Pam Anderson did that whole bit about
Yeah.
the ring.
Yeah.
Where they were like, shut up.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, that's for Bailey, but I'll keep it.
But yeah, that's how you see someone after that point. You see him as that way, and it's good or bad. So, a couple quick announcements, and Brandon's here. Thank you for settling in, Brandon.
Yes, of course.
Were you pre-partying?
I have been, yes.
He's pre-partying,
It's,
okay.
It was my day off, so I did a little bit of cleaning. I got a bidet.
It's a good thing that I don't pay you, because I wouldn't pay you today.
You're taking jets to the ass?
I took a jet to the ass today, and let me tell you something.
You did a what? Who?
Yes.
What'd I miss?
I installed a bidet attachment to my toilet today, which I
He
ordered.
ran the garden hose in from the window.
He's such a liberal.
Listen, I bought this shit when you couldn't buy fucking toilet paper in the stores. Earlier in this fucking
You've been seeing that
coronavirus
ad
bullshit.
on Facebook where it's like, why would you use paper on chocolate on a peach? Watch this. And I'm like, ew.
Actually, the one that's a little bit
I
more
use baby wipes.
realistic
I mean, I
for
use
me.
the wipes anyway.
Absolutely.
I used to use that, and then my plumbing got fucked up.
No, I have no choice but to use baby wipes. Like, I'm half Wookiee, so...
Cody.
Dude, me too.
Like, you
shit.
have no choice but to have a little extra there.
No, seriously, I use the same shit. but-
Charmin fucking lies, that's all I'm
So
saying.
here's the thing, what people don't know, and this is what I try to explain to women don't know this about guys. We don't talk about it. But it's a particular challenge as a guy when it comes to that department, wiping your, because we are hairy by nature. That's part of who we are in our genetic code. And if nobody doesn't know, but
Part the mounds and all's the hairs.
poop kind of likes to hang on to hair.
It does.
So you got to have some way to get rid of it. So I compliment you for your bidet.
Well, it's all
I've
about
used a bidet
hygiene,
before.
honestly.
It's very refreshing.
Nope.
I used one the
I
first
don't like
time
the
I was
taste
in
of the
Italy
water, but
about
it's very refreshing.
7
If I
or
wanted
8 years ago.
a devil's kiss, I would have just ate more Taco Bell and had to blow out.
The first time I ever used a bidet, I was in Saudi Arabia when I was in the Navy.
Okay.
No, I was. It was one of the stories that I haven't told on here yet.
I was going to say, I haven't heard this one.
But I didn't know how to use it, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know anything
Right.
about it. So
You thought it was a drinking fountain.
Well, it's usually separate.
okay.
it's a separate machine.
So here's the thing: it was separate.
Yeah.
But the place where you did your business was actually in the floor.
It's just a hole in the ground.
Yeah, a hole in the ground, and then the bidet was separate. So you had to do your business, stand up, and then go over to the bidet.
It almost looks like a little sink, but it's
See,
like a
I feel
bubble.
like I would fuck it up, use the bidet, and
You're
then have
too
to
big.
waffle stomp the bidet.
Yeah, you're too big. So here's the thing: I didn't know what I was doing. I'd never used a bidet before, and here me, in another country and everything. You're trying to. So I actually sit on the bidet the wrong way. I said,
You said
yeah,
balls to
I
the
did.
fucking
I did.
spigot, and you're like, yes, wash me.
I did. That's exactly what it was. So you sit there, and as soon as you sit down, it comes on. Like there was no button. It just came on. So it's literally getting up underneath the sackage area, and then
Mud flaps.
the person that I happened to be in the room with said something about, "Are you using?
What are you, a woman?
Are you using the bidet?" And I said yes, and she peeks and she goes, "You're sitting the wrong way." So I had to turn around. I was like, "Oh, this is refreshing, man. I feel like a new guy, man."
Well, yeah, because
No,
in the
Rob,
Western world,
no.
you
What's
sit
Rob
on the
saying?
toilet. Like,
Rob Davis, did Shakers install bidets?
no, but that's a great idea.
Oh, that would be a mess. Could you imagine drunk people
Dude,
with a bidet?
we can't even have a
Your
drunk
drinking
person.
fountain's broken.
They can't even handle fucking paper towel holder.
I know. We don't want to give them any more science to have to deal with. It's enough. Open beer, smoke cigarette. That's enough. That's
I mean,
enough.
shit, you already opened the beer for them. How did they fuck that up?
No,
You'd be shocked.
we don't open the beer for them. It's actually against the health code.
No shit.
You can, like, when you have a can, you can crack it a little,
Yeah,
but you're
yeah.
not allowed to open it. You're not supposed to open it at all.
Oh shit. I'm talking
Yeah.
about bottles though.
Bottle, yeah, you open those for
Yeah,
them.
okay.
But
I
what are
was
you
gonna
talking
say,
about?
how are they fucking that up?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
well,
like, they're
definitely
like,
learned a
"Hey,
thing
let me-
about
oh."
opening cans today.
Yeah. So pre-warning, so everybody knows this is an R-rated show. We do have someone on the show that likes to cuss about every other 3 or 4 words.
Who the fuck is that?
I don't know who the fuck it is.
might be you.
Oh, yep. He cussed. We drink.
And so we want to let you know ahead of time if you are sitting there in a room with your children,
Put them away. You watching us? Then.
put them away.
Wipe 'em off your stomach.
Get the duct tape out. Turn the bidet on. Just get them out of the room. I don't know, but
Splash them.
yeah, splash them.
You know, I know that people are trying to go outside to do social distancing stuff, but you've got a perfectly good sprinkler in your
I
backyard.
did not go outside to do social distancing. I went outside to get away from stuff. To get outside. Anyway,
I came to.
we realize everybody's still kind of stuck at home, so we appreciate you guys stopping in and spending a little time with us. But I did want to, we are open on May 4th here at Shakers.
May the 4th be with you.
I know that several people waited another week or two because they were too scared to announce it, but not me. I announced it. I said I didn't care. But I do want to let you guys know we will now have Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, Disney Plus, and ESPN Plus available. So on Mondays and Thursdays would be great nights down here because Monday's kind of a game night anyway.
Absolutely.
So we'll turn some movies on. Monday will be May the 4th be with you. We will be open and we'll be showing Star Wars, episodes of Star Wars in the bar. So you guys can come down for that. That should be real good.
And now that you got Disney Plus, The Mandalorian as well.
Yeah, would be whatever's going to be on will be on, and we're going to show it, and it should be good experience and give you guys something else to do while you're down here. I know a lot of the regulars are interested in that, so we're going to do that.
For sure.
I got T-shirts coming. I'm getting the vinyl done. My sister-in-law actually knows how to make that, so she's making the vinyl for me. Then I'm going to press them and print them, and so I'm not going to say what's on it, but I already told Zach what it was, and it's kind of a real short and sweet message, but it's pretty cool. And thanks to Rob Davis, I give Rob a call out for that because Rob actually part of the T-shirt is because of something that he kind of came up with.
He says he's so excited.
Who said that?
Rob Davis, he's watching.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
nice.
Hey, Rob Davis. So yeah, Rob Davis knows basically I give him credit for part of the shirt because of the kind of the saying he made up, and I think it's going to turn into a thing. And once the shirt comes out, we'll do the show and we'll talk about why it says that.
I think it's already a thing.
It is already a thing, but now we'll spread the joy.
Of course.
Now we'll spread it around. So that's gonna be great. So that's exciting stuff getting ready to happen. As Zach will tell you, he's been down here with me almost every night, and I've been doing a lot of organizing and cleaning. So I refinished and refurbished the deck up there, so it's like brand spanking new, and repainted the men's bathroom. And
What'd that cost you, about 89 cents?
it was 92.
92, wow.
Yep. And
Inflation's a bitch.
I took the other 2 pennies and I gave it to not Leonard, but
Watch
the other
out.
guy.
Of course.
Yeah.
You know, I saw that motherfucker just chilling in the alley the other day.
He was
has been-
flagging cars down.
Yeah, he's getting desperate.
He had a motorcyclist.
What was
be
that,
pulled
last
over.
night or the night before we left? And he was, hey man, and Zach was like, no.
It was 2 nights ago. Instantly hops off that bitch. I'm like, no.
So this social distancing, you know how people have been talking about how, you know, it's going to affect them, you know, going forward, you know, even after COVID-19's over and everything, and that how this shit is going to affect how we buy things and how we interact with other people
Not me.
and all this shit.
Not
well,
us.
well,
Hold on.
Well, here's the thing.
It just dawned on me.
I've got
It
a
is-
stick for Leonard. It's 6 feet. Okay, I have it in the back of my car. It's a repurposed pole that's got like one of those sweeper things that you're supposed to clean your windshield with. It's got like
It's like 6 feet.
yeah, it's 6 feet long.
And you're going to give it to him?
No, I'm gonna keep it and say, get the fuck away from me.
Oh.
I felt like he was going to beat him.
No,
You know, I was waiting to see where he was going with it, and I thought he was going to say something
I was
nice
going
and
to say,
kind.
you guys got to switch.
No.
Say nice
You
and
have to
kind.
put the hood up after that one.
Yeah,
what hood?
the white hood.
Get out of here, man. No, I'm saying stay away. Don't
So-
give me the corona.
So
All
I
right,
want everybody.
hear
go
me
ahead.
out real
All right,
quick.
Go ahead.
It is COVID-19, as we know, Chinese disease, right?
From China.
From China.
Why are they always ahead of the game? Like,
Who?
it's 2020
Who, China?
here, and we're just now on COVID-19. Why aren't we on COVID-20?
Yeah. What? And where did 16 and 17 go?
Dude, I'm just saying.
Why do we just get
Asia's
19?
always ahead of the game.
Where was 18? Why did we only get 19?
Well, I think
What was 16, 17? Was that practice for 19?
Probably.
We missed out on that.
so. There
So
are,
speaking of that, from now on, when you say COVID-19, I want you to do it in the tune of "Come On, Eileen."
COVID-19.
You cannot do it any other way now.
gotta get
Every time you say COVID-19 now, it's got to be in the theme of "Come On, Eileen."
be Corona extra.
Come on, COVID-19. Yeah. Okay.
COVID-19. Oh, it's
I saw
just
that on Facebook. I'm like,
19.
that's amazing.
There's no 17.
We only got 19. All right, so I just wanted to, I don't know if you saw this, Zach, and I know you'll appreciate this because you like Joe Biden so much.
I don't.
Joe Biden says we should have sex with money. Did you know that?
Like, I should be fucking
It's
fat
time to
stacks.
get down with the cash. So he actually said in a speech, we should have economic intercourse.
Well, we gotta.
You guys, listen, you got to look it up on YouTube.
We gotta fuck our fat stacks.
Listen, you can now begin study at college. That'll be in the next course, economic intercourse, and it'll be in the same study block of gender studies and alternative sexuality. So it'll
Sarah
be in the same
Ann
block.
is singing with us, by the way.
Good for her.
But
Thank you, Sarah.
She chose some NSYNC, you know. It's gonna be May.
I just
So
listened to
she's
that
doing it by
song
COVID-19?
20 minutes ago.
It's COVID-19.
It's COVID-19. I gotta get some ramen noodle hair.
Bro, we still got to do our video.
Absolutely.
We got to do the COVID blurst
COVID blurst.
to the tune of Truth Hurts.
Of course.
It'll be a hit, man. We'll go viral, or at least we'll
Absolutely.
catch a virus, one or the other. So, did you guys know? Did you guys know that the movie Hills Have Eyes, right?
Which version?
Do you know the
There's
movie
only
Hills
one.
Has Eyes? Quit being so cinephilic. Is that the way to say it?
The
Cinephilic?
one
I'll
with,
accept it.
the
Okay,
one
thank
with
you.
Michael Berryman. Or
Okay,
the new one?
any of the movies, The Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah, the creepy dudes. with
Okay,
the
you know it's
nuclear
based
shit.
on a true story. I don't know if
Yeah,
you
it's
guys knew
Joe
this.
Biden's upgrade.
No, it's not Joe Biden. The Hills Have. Let me smell your hair.
Listen here, folks.
I want to smell the back of your neck.
Come to find out, like Joe Biden actually played himself in Silence of the Lambs. He was the guy next to Hannibal.
Yeah.
I can smell your gun.
Clarice. Anyway.
Except that noise wasn't him.
The reason I'm
sucking anything. It was
Yeah,
him
no,
whacking
it was him
Right.
whacking them up. So I thought it was interesting. Well, it was actually after a family called the Beans in Scotland. I didn't know if you guys knew this.
Of course, it's the fucking Scots.
Yeah, so it's the Scottish, and the name of the family was the Beans. And for 25 years, they would come out of the caves around this certain area of Scotland and kill tourists and wayward travelers.
Just eat them.
Yes, they would eat them.
Would they fuck them too?
I don't know if that's your
Bodies?
fantasy, Brandon.
It's not, but I.
Girls,
curious.
watch out! His fantasies
I'm
screwing
just curious.
necrophilia.
I'm just curious.
Do you
You knew
like
that already?
to eat what you fuck, or do you fuck what you eat?
Well,
I think if you kill it, you can do whatever you want to it.
Pretty much.
It's yours,
say
right?
That you are what you eat. So in a way,
You like dick.
You eat dick?
That's what I give me that dick, bro. That was like the same time. The same time.
It's that hive mind, bro.
That hive.
yeah.
One of us. One of us.
no. The funny story though behind that is, they always say that cannibals tend to like. It's that story that you were telling about the fucking like Philippines where they like.
Death by Panji.
No, that
Panji,
was
that's
me
the one.
and Zach on the weekend.
Oh fuck!
That wasn't in
I'm
Philippines.
sorry about you.
No, you talking about death by what was it?
Panji.
Panji?
Well, they were
Is that the
talking about,
name
like,
of it?
yeah, like
What did I
fucking
call it?
somebody to death or
Bungie?
something.
Bunji.
I called it Bungie as
We're
Panji.
we're gonna wrap this thing around your legs, push you off a fucking bridge.
It'll be too long, so you'll smack the ground, then we're gonna eat your dick.
Like Kobayashi.
Kobe. Pow! I'm sorry, is he saying pow? Why does he keep saying that? Pow! So, what I
Fear makes it taste better.
what I like the most, man, is you guys. I know Brandon is, and I know you are for sure. You guys are huge movie and TV fans and stuff like that. And
definitely.
you have a lot of knowledge about that. So what I like the most is we're going to be showing movies and TV
Alan's
down
watching.
here.
I've never seen him tune in. Thanks for tuning in, Alan.
Who is it?
Alan.
Alan?
Yeah.
Where's Alan from?
Oh shit! I had comments
Bro.
off. My bad.
They played here.
know
Blind
who
Velvet.
Alan is.
I don't
Blind
know where
Velvet.
he's from.
He's from a small town. I don't think is he from Jack. Alan, where are you from?
Yeah, I was
Let us
going
know
to say,
where you're
why are we debating this? Alan, you're
So listen,
watching. Where are you from?
So speaking of that, that's one of the things that I miss the most with this whole break that's going on. I'm so glad when we get back open. I'm already starting to talk to bands. I can't wait to start booking bands again, and I'm going to get Blind Velvet back in here.
Oh,
as
they
soon
were
as possible.
amazing.
Yeah, they're awesome.
He had
They're
a lot of
actually-
energy.
They're super underrated. Like I think they look at themselves as kind of a local band, but they're actually super talented, and they a lot of energy on stage. Like you could tell they're comfortable being on stage, and they had such a good. They played here once as it's been Shakers. And I'm going to get
He
him back.
tripped me out when he started standing. I was
That was
working that door,
phenomenal.
man. He's standing right there. I'm
That
like,
was
oh,
awesome.
what the
Well, he
fuck?
came over and he goes, "Do you mind if I stand on?" I'm like, "No, go ahead, man."
Yeah,
And he
do
got
what
his
you
big
do.
butt up there and did his thing. And that was awesome. But yeah, he was.
Rob Davis says he misses open mic. Well, that's on Tuesday, Rob.
Yeah, Rob. I thought Rob would say he'd miss karaoke. That's Rob's thing.
Rob Davis, I miss open mic, and
You know-
then Three Faces.
Do you know Rob? Do you know Rob went to New
Crying.
York and sang in the Macy's Day Parade?
I do know that.
That's badass.
He was
Yeah.
well. He was working for Macy's. He was a manager in one of the departments, and they asked him, and he's in theater and pretty accomplished. He actually owns a theater company. He owns a Rad Studios with Dimitri.
He gave him the old razzle dazzle.
And we're actually
razzle-dazzle
Shakers is
bit.
actually a sponsor of Rad Studios. I
Oh, that's
ponied
what's
up a check last year, so they're going to bring that over this year because of the all that stuff. Anyway, but Rob's a phenomenal, talented guy, and I thought he'd say he liked karaoke. He's ready for karaoke, which will be on Wednesday. Is
I don't know. I actually think it's because of the Final Pollution.
that what it is?
I think Rob likes to watch the Final Pollution. Call it a hunch.
Now explain for the rest of the class that maybe doesn't know what the Final Pollution is. What is the Final Pollution?
It is a band
A band.
of a local sort.
So no,
Is this Tom Cook's,
it's actually
Tom
funny.
Cook's
Like
outfit?
All right. So ultimately,
it's Tyler King,
Tyler King and okay.
Liam Ollendorf,
Okay.
and
Mark.
Hukin. And then occasionally they'll bring other guys in. But basically,
what's it, Kyle?
yeah, it started as a comedy band.
Yeah.
But they're actually talented,
Gotcha.
which that's their own fault for being talented.
Okay.
And so I actually booked them as actually band on regular. They played here a couple times on regular nights where we had other bands. They opened.
cool.
They opened for Zana, and they opened for
else
what was
was
the other
that?
one? It was another mid-level band they opened for.
I don't know. That was a stressful night.
Yeah, that was. Well, it was Zana, and then they opened. It was a couple months before that. I don't remember, but anyway. Yeah, I'll be happy. People already been hitting us up about open mic, so that
Absolutely.
open
We got
mics-
Logan Chapman coming back.
Yeah, Logan said didn't he say he's got some new stuff coming
Yeah,
out?
Logan's got that new.
So that's awesome. Logan, this is what I love about having a place where people come play music. Is
Rob said he has been learning guitar over the quarantine, and he just
What?
misses Shakers Monday through Saturday.
what? Rob's gonna be playing
Is
guitar?
Rob going to grace my stage?
Oh,
Is
that'd be
that-
amazing. Oh yeah, yeah. We did. I don't know if we ever told any people you're the. Well, we say it sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, you're the open mic host. Rob, if you're learning guitar, that's awesome, man. I love to see you play, get up there, because I know you can sing. So it'd be cool to hear you
Absolutely.
do some show tunes with acoustic guitar. That'd be
yeah.
funny.
That'd be great.
That'd be awesome, man. Nobody does that. That'd be cool. All right. Anyway, that's the one thing I love about having a bar is you get to see all of these local guys, and some of them are so talented. Like Logan Chapman is so talented. Reminds me of like Ed, not because they're redheaded, but
feels nothing but the chedderness.
the ginger look. But he's super.
His rendition, though, of Dive, though, like seriously, if you've
Yeah.
never heard it, come on down, listen to him. It's phenomenal.
In fact, you can listen to Ed Sheeran first or him, and then listen to both because he does a great version of it.
I
man.
mean, fantastic.
So talented guy. And then, so Final Pollution started as a comedy band, and then they ended up being really talented at music. And so they started coming in on open mic nights, and they kind of bring a few people with them. They kind of have a local following. And then I know they've played over at Carbondale. So they just I ended up seeing some talent in them, and I was like, hey, you want to play here on the stage? And they got into it. So it's
Do
cool.
they do like original songs, or is it more
Their
covers?
songs
They're
are
all
actually
original.
original.
All original.
Yeah, they like the AstroTurf the Moon and
Diarrhea on the Moon.
Diary on the Moon. Well,
Okay,
so
that tells me a little bit more.
And then
So
we
it's like-
have an after party where we pour old vats of oil in the river.
So now, but that's after party. So yeah, it's like that back room party that nobody else gets to go to. But no, they sing a lot. So they're called the Final Pollution. So they're making fun of environmental stuff, but in a way almost like satire against people that destroy the world.
okay,
They have a Tenacious D flair about them.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, and then they have nicknames of like think Liam's Ash, and then or they call
No,
him Sticks.
Mark is Ash.
Mark's
Liam
Ash
is Sticks.
and then what does Tyler go
forget
by?
Tyler.
He changes. I think he changes his name sometimes. And they talk in this obnoxious English accent that nobody
It is.
understands why they do it, but they do it. But that's what makes it funny. So anyway, you can see them down here on some Tuesdays. I know that House of Rhodes moved to St. Louis. But
heard that.
I did talk to Dylan Rainbolt, and he said he'd be happy to come back down
Wonderful.
for a gig or open mic, so we'll get them back down. So yeah, things are going to be getting back to normal. I realize that, a lot of you guys that are still concerned about what's going on in the world, that's fine, you have that right, but we are going to be open for regular business. We're just going to be trying to ask everybody to kind of respect everybody's space. So we're not going to require you guys to do anything, but we're just going to, we're going to ask
Alexandre, Ash, and Sticks. Rob Davis.
you. Okay, cool. He's got their poster, I bet, doesn't he?
I'm sure he does.
Rob, do you have their poster on your wall? Blue. Anyways, I'm happy to be getting back to business, and we're not going to tell anybody that they have to do anything a certain way, but respect everybody's distance and space, and hopefully we won't have any problems.
We will make you.
Yep. We are going to get a little more critical into that later, talking about COVID and some of the things that we know, and of course those two doctors that have caused so much stir. I actually found their original video and reposted it
Saw
on
that.
Facebook. Yeah.
Saw that.
Yeah. As soon as I found it, I was like, going to Facebook. So I'm sure it'll get taken down, either one. I'll probably get blocked on Facebook, but whatever.
A lot of
That's
people
right,
are
I've
getting
been there.
blocked right now. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that too. What's happening with that? It should be a concern for everybody, especially people that are like you guys are comedians. I know you've done comedy.
I wouldn't call myself.
Yes,
a
you are.
comedian.
I've seen you did.
I'd say I'm funny looking.
Brett, you did stand up at Ragsdale,
Yeah,
and
that
you were
was-
actually funny.
I stood
you
up
talked
and
about
I-
farts and
and I
shit for
talked
like
about a fart.
15 minutes.
I also talked about that
It was pretty
fucking
good.
toilet that sprayed my ass, which it's funny that now I made fun of a toilet that sprayed my ass without my consent. That now I have a consenting spray in the ass
Non-consensual spray of the ass.
Yeah, because it was like, it's one of those things that's
I
motion
remember my
sensor.
youth, too.
And I went to sit down, I got sprayed in the ass, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Brandon was in there,
now-
coming there for open mic because Dusty was the bartender with me. Dustin was.
Yeah.
And he would run the open mic. It was on, what was it, on Mondays, right? Yeah, it was Mondays.
Yeah, Monday.
And he would run the open mic, and they had that weird dance floor down there that lit up. And so we'd set it up, and Brandon was like I went over to talk to him, and he was talking about, I don't know, I'm thinking I've got this kind of routine I think I want to do. And I'm like, so he went up and did it. And it was funny because he was telling stories about himself and stuff he'd done. And that's the funniest stuff when people talk about personal stuff and their life.
Oh, of course.
So you were talking about, one of the things I remember you talked about was you were on a date or with a girl that you really liked, and you were trying to be impressive, and then you end up having to take a dump. It's hard to be impressive when you're thinking about dumping. So
See, I always shit on the first date. You have no choice.
get that out of the way.
Well, it's also kind of one of those things where it's like, you're on the first date, you're across the table like me and you are right now, hey, big boy. But it's
Wait a
almost like
minute.
it's almost like you're kind of all there on Front Street, but it's also at that moment that you start to imagine,
It's
what your future could
like
be like.
taking
but
a crap
also-
in the military.
Also, the fact that
You gotta sit there and stare at the
might
other
have
guy.
to take a shit right now.
So so that's funny. The second time, my second date with my wife, we're sitting at our house and we shared some wine and we had dinner and I had to go to the bathroom. It's second date, so you're still in the I need to impress her stage, right?
Exactly, like you're holding those farts in.
Oh yeah, and I tell you what, the
100%.
man you see before you now is not the man I was then. I was way thinner then. I was like half the man I was now. I am now.
So we had no place to hide those farts.
Well, I was a lot thinner. I was in real great shape. I was 100% organic, and I was in the gym all the time. But anyway, trying to get myself I'm the stallion. I need a running mate. Well, anyway, so I met my wife on our second date. She asked me to come over. We have dinner. We drink some wine. We're sitting there watching a movie. She's getting sleepy, and I have to go to the bathroom. So I excuse myself, and I'm like, oh my God, second date? Like you can't. Like I'm talking to my bowels. I'm going,
Right.
Dude. Like, I finally found a good girl that's actually decent, right?
Right, and you're gonna scare her
Moral,
away.
respectable, decent girl. And here I got to blow her bathroom up. So I'm sitting in there. So I take my normal amount of time. And I usually take what people usually take, it's like 2 sittings. It's 1 for me. I take a long time.
When you say 2 sittings, what do you mean?
I mean, like, what normal people go to the bathroom 2 times, it's 1 time
Oh,
for me.
okay, got you.
I take
Okay.
a long time. I like to vacate the premises, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
but anyway,
that also gives it time to air out maybe a little.
well, and yeah, of course. So I'm sitting. I do my business, and I get up and I'm looking in the mirror, and I'm like, oh my God. And so she didn't. It was like we met in like September, but it was a particularly warm day, and so I'm sweaty.
I'm thinking of that scene in Dumb and Dumber where he's got dosed with laxatives.
Yeah.
And he's like shitting and then
like,
he doesn't have any TP, and then he's like, oh God.
So I don't have that. I have a really smooth outing, so to speak. And I get done. I'm standing there looking in the mirror, and I've got beads of sweat on my forehead because it's stuffy.
like
in the
I
house.
do right now. Jesus Christ, these lights are
And
on.
I'm like, what am I going to do? So I decided to do some push-ups to kind of offset the sweat.
I'm really distracted right now because
What?
he's killing a seagull.
I know.
I know exactly
Beating
what
the
scene.
seagull
Yep,
on the-
I know
the-
exactly what scene we're
on
on.
the cistern. So, well, that's Amazon Prime. That's
It is.
that's the lighthouse.
Watching the lighthouse.
So I come out of the bathroom and I've got this look on my face like I've been working out. I'm trying to look like, and because I did do some push-ups. And so you never want that question to come like, you okay? Or took a little while? Or everything all right? Everything
She
come
didn't
out all
say
right?
anything, huh?
No, she did. So we're sitting there and she goes, you were in there for a while. And I was like, damn it. And I said, I was doing push-ups. She said, why were you doing push-ups? And I'm like, just trying to get pumped up, you know. And she's like, you weren't doing push-ups. It starts with a P. You were pooping. I'm like, oh, God, this is the way we started. But like Zach said, if you do that early enough in the relationship and they get to know you and they're still with you, you're golden.
I've got no
You're
problem.
golden, pony boy.
I have no problem crop dusting the fuck out of a date. Because here's the thing. If it's going to move forward, they need to know what I'm about and what lives inside me. And they're not pleasant.
What lives inside
it's
you?
the fucking devil.
We were sitting.
I'm not even a date.
My daughters were in here earlier, and we had this video conference with the SEMO women's basketball team. and it was this end of year thing they do, and we got invited to it, and we got the MVP Fans of the Year. Our family did, which is kind of cool because we go a lot of stuff. But anyway, Lily is sitting in the chair, and I'm leaning over the back of the chair, and we're all trying to get in that little window on the feed, and Lily lets rip something that shouldn't come from a 10-year-old. It was
Just
it-
like,
oh, it was
I'm imagining a nasty trucker.
oh, it was ungodly. And then before I smell it, she goes like this. She goes, and she looks over her shoulder, and I'm like, "What are you laughing?" Oh! And it came up their back, like it rolled up her back like a misty fog, and went right into my nose. And it was ungodly. I had to turn my head, and we're on this video feed, and I'm like, "Oh my God!" But that's what you do when you raise your daughters. And from the time they were old enough to understand, I would laugh every time they farted because it was hilarious. So now I can't break them from it. Now it's like when they fart, to them it's like, ha ha, and I can't really get mad because I
Dude,
kind of started them out
My
that
farts
way.
have caused a limo driver to start gagging before. This is a true
Yeah,
story.
medical attention.
This is a true story. So it is Carrie, one of our watchers that
yeah.
is always
Why
watching
did I
us.
think when you said limo driver, I thought of an Indian guy? You do not fart in my car.
Wow,
I know, right? I don't know why I thought
really
that.
went straight there, huh?
Yeah, that was kind of racist. Sorry.
Christ.
Sorry to everybody.
Talk about the hood.
Oh damn.
Or he owns the limo company, maybe. I don't know.
So
Maybe he does.
Yeah.
it's her birthday. Her mom decides like, oh, you guys go out in a limo, be fancy, right? All right, whatever.
You be fancy?
Yeah, me
That's
fancy.
funny.
So we're in this limo,
eating, like,
and
caviar
I
and
start
shit?
farting. No, we went to Shoguns.
Oh fuck!
In,
You started
South
farting?
Say
County.
no more. I get
You
the
started
farts
farting
now.
in the limo?
It was before Shoguns. Yeah, I get car sick really easy.
So instead you
So
fart.
whenever I'm in the back seat of a car, I will just start.
You've never
cranking
done that
them.
in my car, but you're only in there like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
So is there like
and
a
it's pretty straight lines.
Is there like a 5 minute cutoff? Like past 5 minutes?
Well, you have to think it's pretty straight lines we drive. It's
Oh,
literally
okay.
one road.
So there's not a lot of.
right.
Oh, okay.
So,
So,
I'm sorry to say this or ask this, but you say in the straight lines, like when you see where you can go and you see where you're going, you don't fart. But if you go around the bend, you
yeah,
do.
like if we're going around like curvy roads, I get like nauseous.
Does
in
that like
cars.
increase the intensity of the fart too? Is like how,
Yeah, so
how
these are like
right,
30 to
let's see it
45 second farts.
You're totally analyzing his
I want to
farts.
fucking know. This is interesting.
Like,
if it's snake,
Get it. Hey, next time bring a dry erase board.
Right,
Draw
just-
your ass and the fart coming out,
just-
and then actually
we're gonna go up the
break it
fucking
down
snake road
scientifically.
up
Just go
here.
straight down.
What is
John Madden.
what's the chemical composition of your farts?
listen, can
Only
we
methane.
bottle it? Can we use it as a weapon? The U.S. needs to know.
Absolutely.
Against
So
China.
these are,
COVID 2020 is this, right?
is my
2020.
asshole. So these are like 30 and 45 second farts. All right,
What?
dude.
You and
I've got
that's
some
like,
fucking
that's
farts,
part of
man.
your intestines coming out
he's
when
got
you
a
do that.
fucking
Dude.
canister in his body that he's
No,
just
that's
like,
like part of it. Yeah. No, it's
So
part of his
no, when I
intestines.
belch, it sounds like I'm pulling Satan from hell too. Like,
You know that Zach, one thing about Zach is not only is he a big guy, but most people have about 6 foot of colon. He's got 16 feet of colon.
it's true.
So what happens when you lay down flat on your stomach when you go to sleep? Do you
That
just
doesn't
like
happen.
empty out?
It is
It's
like a
roll
65
him
to
over.
75 second fart.
for fuck's
oh
sake,
my
dude.
God.
Yeah, it is a very
That
long
sounds
fart.
dangerous.
God forbid a kid comes up and jumps into
It
your,
is
your
only
arms to give you a
killed 2
hug.
small animals
And a limo driver.
and a limo. This limo driver, dude, like he was all proper. Oh, you guys are going out being good, and I started farting, and he chuckled at first,
Yeah, the first one's funny.
and then it fucking
Like you're
hit
kind
him.
of like, oh, dude, that was terrible. And then the second one, it's like, all right, that's not funny, man. Knock it off. The third one, it's like, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, so it fucking hit his nose. He rolls up the partisan shade. We're sticking our head out the window. He's fucking driving like this, his head out the window. I fucking gassed out a limo, and I'm proud of it. I approve this message.
Well, considering where you were probably sitting all the way in the back in the limo, and there was a good 10 to 15 feet of space up to the driver.
Yeah.
And how long did you say that lasted?
Oh, dude, it was like a 30-second fart.
How do you fart for 30 seconds and not die?
I have severe, intestinal issues with food.
So is this like a thing that you've had for a long time?
Wait.
or is this-
You got to do that song. You were standing outside of the bar one night, and you and Vesper are like, you got issues. I got issues.
All right,
Do it. You got to do it.
I've got issues. You've got them too. I ate with Tommy, and I've got a poo.
So they're standing. You did it on Facebook.
Dude.
So I see him post on Facebook, and he's standing outside the bar before I got down here, and he and Vesper came down. The only reason they came down because they had to use the bathroom. They were out and about, and they had to go to the bathroom. And they get in front of the door, and they post on Facebook, Zach's singing that song, Issues, from Julian, whatever her name is. And I got issues. You got them too? I ate with Tommy. And that was on Facebook, and it's outside the door. That was classic.
The worst part is, dude, I shit before I left Watami.
Yeah, but it's Watami, man.
Dude, it goes right through you. That
Worth it
MSG
every
is-
time.
It is worth it. So, so we're gonna get into some of the meat of our night.
We'll cut
Oh
the shit
my
out.
God.
Yeah, cut the shit out, Zach. Really? Yeah. You are watching Session Stream live from Shaker's Bar downtown Cape with my my guests, my regulars now. Which basically, just so you know, you're regular now. Don't ask if you're on the show anymore.
You're pretty much Metamucil.
I've been what's upgraded from guest star to series regular.
So you don't have to ask us anymore if you're on the show.
Okay.
On Thursdays, you're here. Show's at 8.
Yeah, 8 o'clock, not 8:02. Don't park your car at 8:02 and come in. And then Zach, of course, he's always been
I'm
here.
always here.
You've always been here, sir.
I have.
Welcome. So
What will it be tonight?
I saw a cool
I don't
documentary. Thanks to Zach, man, my whole world of TV has opened up.
Fucking
I've
dude. Finally.
been opened
Shit.
up to
Best compliment ever.
Yes.
like I've been opened up. He let me get into his Netflix. So now my daughter's appreciated. It's been
God
a
damn,
blessing.
fucking A, dude.
And because of that, this is actually wasn't even one, but I watched a documentary on I think it was PBS or one of those places. But anyway, about Johnny Cash.
Yes.
So Johnny Cash, I fell in love with Johnny Cash from Walk the Line, and then
Joaquin Phoenix.
well, it wasn't a movie, it was a song. I actually liked the
No, it was the movie.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. But the movie was good. But
Walk hard.
I fell in love with Johnny Cash in the way that the one thing that I remember seeing about him the first time I ever
wrong
heard the
son
song
died.
was the album cover where he's flipping off the camera, because he did that about record labels and stuff. And so
Folsom.
he was the quintessential rebel in music, right? And he did country, but he was transcended. He crossed over. But anyway, it was about his childhood, and he grew up in Dyess, Arkansas, and it was established. The town was established as a sharecropper town. It was only sharecropping town. There was nothing else there. It was in the middle of nowhere, and they had a bunch of farmland there. So Johnny Cash grew up at a farm, a sharecropper's house. That was his family, and he showed his house where he lived. And they lived in like these shotgun houses that were, front room, middle room, back room. And so there's never enough room, and they had a pretty large family. And back then, each sharecropper got a small shotgun house, 20 acres, and a mule. So you ever heard the 20 acres and a mule slogan? Yep. That's where that came from. This is just up the road, or down the road in Dyess, Arkansas. The reason I brought this up and I wanted to just kind of quickly talk about it a little bit is because the history of this country is so diverse and interesting. You've got major icons like Johnny Cash that started from nothing. Huh? And we've talked about this before. And I don't know about your childhood and how you grew up, but Zach and I grew up with nothing. Like he was basically institutionalized. He was in care of the state.
They're coming to take me away.
And on the East Coast for all places.
Well, it's probably because the psychiatrist at the school thought he was killing a bunch of animals. Turns out he was just farting a bunch.
That's probably what it was. But he grew up. I grew up poor. I grew up living in a trailer.
With Tommy.
A single mom in the 70s. So I was broke. So we talk about this all the time. And through all of this stuff that's been going on with COVID and how we always have to remember we got to appreciate what we have, even if it's something small. So Zach and I talk about survival and making it through this. We kind of giggle about us because he and I when you've been to the bottom. None of this stuff bothers you because you've been without food for 3 or 4 days at a time. You've been without the care. My mom worked a lot.
Yeah.
Never had a dad around. I didn't know my dad, actually. The last time I saw my dad is I was 4 years old, and I remember him meeting my mom in Scott City, and he drove to, I remember watching a Texas sunset. He lived down in Texas. He drove us down to Texas. He moved there after they divorced because they didn't have to pay child support at the time. And I went down there with my dad. My sister was 2, I was 4. And I remember 2 things about my dad. The first thing I remember a sunset in Texas, which wasn't my dad. He had a VW van. And the other thing I remember is him shoving a hamburger down my sister's throat because he was a a messed up individual. So the reason I bring this up is I
Third
want.
thing is, he's still looking for that gallon of milk.
No, he's dead. He died from cancer.
Shit.
And it didn't affect me at all. I found out when I was 15. They sent my grandmother in St. Louis sent a letter to my mom, and she shared it with me one morning. It was actually at McDonald's in Cape on Broadway, the old McDonald's. And basically, hey, here's this letter for you. And she was, trying to be. I never knew him as my dad, so the only thing that I ever thought about is what kind of person would I have been if he'd still been in my life. And knowing his history, I wouldn't be sitting here today. I would have been in prison because he was a shit bag. He was as Lauren says, a dirt leg. He was a dirt leg.
leg.
The reason I brought this up is that Johnny Cash talked about, when people are artists, when they perform music or they write like we write, or they paint or they draw pictures, their lives come out in their art. And we talked about your cousin last night, Alec. We talked about music, and we talked about you can't sing about or talk about stuff that you haven't lived. You have to live some things. You have to be in them. So Johnny Cash, his songs were things that he experienced, that he lived. And so the reason I brought this up is I want you guys to touch on this. Don't even you touch me if you want to. But
touch me.
When you said that, it got my mind all off, man.
He's like, now I can't stop thinking.
Now I can't stop thinking.
I want you to feel me.
I want you to. You got to stop it. But I want you to just quickly talk about just a little bit about your childhood and kind of a little bit about what you went through growing up, because it brought me back to remember when I was a child and everything I went through with my mom, and how it made me a better person today, and how to give hope to people out there that may be going through some hard stuff. Everything that you're going through that's difficult now is making you stronger for tomorrow. It really is. And I know on this show we don't get a lot inspirational very much, but I wanted to make sure we put that out there, because especially going through all this stuff that's scary and we're not appreciating sometimes the stuff we do have.
Your daughter says hi.
Oh, huh? It's Lily. Hey, Lily can't watch the show, babe. It's...
I apologize for anything I've said so far.
Hopefully she literally just started watching.
Yeah,
Anyway.
it just popped up.
So Lily, one of my daughters, is on. Yeah, Lily, you can't be on the show. You can't watch the show. So just touch on your childhood a little bit, kind of like the priest touched on you.
Jesus.
It's true. It's why I got St. Jude as my patron saint. I ended up hopeless and lost cause.
So yeah, touch on your childhood. Just briefly, let everybody know kind of what brought you to where you're at.
Yeah, I grew up in state custody. Was beaten and broken at an early age. Lived on the streets, couch surfed. Classic orphan style of life with that dirt poor backing. We used to unplug our clocks because you don't need to tell time when you're sleeping, and it saves
That sounds
money.
like a joke. It sounds like a joke someone would tell, but it's true.
Bro, like you don't need to tell time. Like that saves money.
I know.
I remember when I got my first apartment, I kept my microwave on a circuit, like on a switch.
Yeah.
So I just hit the switch, and it would shut down everything but the fridge.
Did you ever use the oven as your heater?
Dude, the oven is the heater.
That was the heater. Yeah, I did that many times.
Like to this day, I still don't run heat in the winter.
Look, I have
That's expensive.
I kind of think about it. I don't like to start my air conditioning until June.
Yep.
And I don't like to turn my heat on until November.
I mean,
See,
ideally,
I will strip off my shirt, then I will strip off my pants. When it is hot enough,
What?
where I have to sit naked in the house, I'm like, all right, it's time for air conditioner.
See, I'm not that way because I will
What that
soak
mouth
through
do?
everything.
God, I hope my daughter's not watching.
No, she said bye.
Nope, she said bye. All right.
Okay.
Hopefully before
her
then.
mommy probably let her just watch for a second. Hi, it's Lily.
Dude, I happened to look down. I'm like, oh, shit. She's a sweetheart. She just doesn't need this.
She is very sweet, but she's going to hear some things that'll scar her, and I'll have to explain when I get home. My wife's like, why is that show like that? And I'll say, because we
Real talk, real people.
Real talk, real people.
What does it mean when priests touch you?
Well, they know, but I told them a little bit about what happened to me, so they know a little bit about it.
Jesus.
So you had a really hard upbringing, and you actually didn't really have a parental figure like an actual.
I had like no parents.
Right.
Ultimately I had parents off and on,
Yeah.
But it's kind of hard to be a parent when your child raised yourself.
Right.
You know, state custody makes you raise yourself.
And I think in ways you become more mature quicker, but then also there's ways, like in my case, I was emotionally immature for a long time.
See,
Until I'll lay this claim, until my 40s, I was not mature.
for me, I try to be mature.
That would entail that I'm immature now.
I have a hard time, like based on my past and where I am now. The hardest part for me is just understanding that people actually do care sometimes.
That is hard.
It's easier
it's hard
for
to
me to
recognize
just push
that,
you the fuck away.
Because sometimes you think, what are you up
Yeah.
to? Yeah.
What are your ulterior
Yeah.
motives?
So Brandon, what about you, man? And without going on too long
Yeah.
with who you are, but
I mean-
what about your childhood?
I mean, I kind of grew up in a more very stark difference to yours. I mean, I had mom and dad, that were there. Dad was working. I know, right?
What are those?
I didn't see my dad very much when I was a kid, just because he was a workaholic. Always working. He was a vice president of a credit union, so he was always there.
I'm not getting any feedback.
Mom was around,
Oh, there he is.
Maybe I'm just not talking.
No, you are.
It wasn't
It's-
even.
It's good.
aimed at
It's
me.
good. You're good.
Mom
I think
was,
nobody said they couldn't hear us. so
Mom
it's
wasn't working, so I was at school and home with mom, and so I had, parental supervision and stuff like that. And,
Yeah.
Mom raised me pretty good. Dad did too. Always in church and school and activities like Boy Scouts and shit, which I hated. And,
Yeah.
Someone's not an eagle.
pretty
Yeah.
normal shit. Yeah, no, I did not stick around with that.
So you had a pretty normal upbringing.
I would say pretty normal.
So when did things for you? Because I know things weren't always easy for you.
No.
So when did things? What at one point do you remember? Because I know for me and him it's from birth.
Right.
But for you, when was it that kind of turned when you kind of
So
started?
I grew up in like a traditional, I would say, like upper middle class, white family, obviously, and
elitist,
well,
liberal,
didn't always
liberal
stay that
elitist, liberal elitist.
it didn't stay that way. And then my dad had a major health issues. He had
Yeah.
a stroke, and then
Oh.
turns out that he had not only had a stroke, but turns out later we found this out that he had a brain tumor, but we didn't know.
No shit.
And
It
so,
sucks.
Yeah, so
I'm sorry.
we were okay, and then
What
we
was
became
funny about that?
Very poor.
Because the fact that I just looked up like that sucks. He's talking about brain tumors. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a sick fuck.
You know.
Well, you
Yeah,
have
I know
one.
exactly.
So Zach has one. So if you
Yeah.
say anything like
I'm
that,
not
he's like,
laughing.
"Welcome
No,
to
I
the
Totally
club.
get it. Yeah. Totally
Welcome
get
to
it.
the club, bro."
No, but we found this out way later, like years later, that
Yeah.
he had that, and because we just thought it was a stroke,
Yeah.
And he had mental decline, like couldn't remember things,
Right.
had issues remembering what we just talked about 10 minutes ago. So it kind of strained my parents' relationship, and
Yeah.
they kind of grew a little bit apart, not because they didn't care about each other, but because of frustration.
Yeah.
So I saw that, and being an only child, I didn't have anybody to talk to about it, so I kind of like internalized that shit.
Right.
And as you do, and I grew closer with my friends, but when I turned 10, we moved down here, and things slowed down quite a bit in terms of me growing the fuck up. So I kind of isolated myself, didn't know a lot of people, kind of became just diving into my video games, art and shit. And then after that, high school, I switched to a parochial school.
Can you hear him? Okay.
Yeah.
High school, went to Catholic school, and
Okay.
that changed my shit. And then I went away to college, and the rest.
Oh,
is
so you
history.
grew up Catholic?
Yeah, unfortunately.
So let me ask you, because this is something I've always wanted to ask. My father-in-law is Catholic, but I wanted to ask a Catholic this question.
Yeah.
What is
Well,
it?
I'm not a Catholic, but I can answer.
But I mean, you grew up you grew up in the Catholic Church. So
Yeah.
what do you think of your faith,
I
of
don't.
the Catholic faith, and everything that's gone on
I
with
think
it?
it's a corporation that all they want to do is just save face all the
Yeah.
time.
I feel like anybody who like grew up Catholic ends up shark taking the fuck out of their
Yeah,
religion.
it's because
Yeah,
can
you
only
have
be-
to like try to sell it
like,
to
what are
somebody.
you?
Listen,
A
it's
Catholic. For this reason, I'm out.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just like anything else. That you're being sold it your entire life, and if you're a free thinker, you're not really welcome there. So, you're used to getting spoon-fed some bullshit.
Well, yeah, Catholics do have a lot of they have a lot of
We have-
bylaws,
we
man.
have a
like,
lot of
do this,
hang-ups,
don't
too.
do this, and
Listen,
yeah, but y'all get to drink from a young age.
Listen, I have a problem
Being
with
drunk
the
as a
fact,
Catholic is like part of your rite of passage. Here, have a beer, son. Dad, I'm 2. Have a freaking beer.
But there's something fundamentally wrong with saying, well, you can do whatever the fuck you want, but as long as you apologize, you're fine. That's
I
a
know,
fucking
that
problem.
is.
I have that as a problem.
Your whole
I've got another confession to make.
your
I'm
whole
fat.
your whole confession system is such a cop out for people, and that's the thing is, I'm not your confession system. I'm just saying, how do you go into a booth to a human being? My whole apology is made directly to the guy, and then he tells me if I'm okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we got a middleman. Like we're just,
Catholics have like a bunch
Why
of
you
middlemen.
gotta have a middleman though?
I'm just saying, like
Catholics.
we're just trying to get it a little cheaper with a little influx.
Catholics
like,
like
"Can I
Office
bribe you?"
Space.
Right?
Catholics like Office Space, and Jesus is the guys that are the cutting the jobs. It's like, what do you do here?
What exactly?
Michael,
is it
Michael Bolton?
You're not going to work here anymore.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, I want to Office Space the fuck out of my fax machine at work.
Yeah, that was the whole point that Mike Judge did that.
Let's
Because
see
like
that.
he's worked in an office before, he knew what it's like.
Dude,
and you
fuck
tell the
that
boss,
fax
and the boss won't get it replaced. So you got to keep dealing with it.
No, the problem is I just learned the fucking old one and he got it replaced.
So the reason I brought this up about childhood and stuff, recently, in fact, just this week, and you're not going to hear a lot about this stuff because of all the COVID crap.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff going on. We talked about the 18 people up in Canada. Speaking of Canada, they're starting to hit the scene for a lot more now. 400 children were rescued, and 386 adults have been charged and arrested in a huge international child porn ring out of Canada.
what the fuck?
I don't think that's true at all. We would have seen it on mainstream media.
Now we got
Wait a
COVID
minute.
blinders on, bro.
The media didn't cover this.
Then that tells you that the story's not real.
So the best part of this story is 386 kids are rescued
Maple
course.
syrup gate.
that are either in child sex rings. And what you guys need to understand about child sex rings, in case you guys don't know about it, is literally children are placed into servitude with certain individuals, and they're basically sold out to people, and they make porn and
We could
videos
just ask
off of them.
Tarantino about it.
What was that Kubrick
Yeah.
movie with? Was it Eyes Wide Shut? I think it was. I think it was Eyes Wide Shut. Remember when?
I already know where you're going.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's kind of on point with this conversation. There's a Helen Hunt. She plays a kid that is clearly in this situation. And remember the hotel? I think it was like the owner, or maybe he was just working the front desk.
I was reading comments.
He was gonna like look the other way, or he was actually gonna call the cops, and then they paid him off.
Yep.
The fucking
Very Catholic.
pervos. Yeah.
So
pedos.
So here's my thing. I like it anytime bad stuff happens in Canada. I don't know why. It's a personal thing with me. Like, they always hold themselves up to be this neutral, better place. Like, it's the Western version of Sweden. Like, it's so much better.
We just haven't
So
taken
anytime
their
they have
land
something
yet.
bad happen in Canada, I'm like, yeah, blame Canada.
There's a Twitter feed you should look into. It's called Scan BC. It's for British Columbia.
Yeah.
It's basically just police blotters from British
nice,
Columbia.
nice.
And they just go over like random shit. I'm gonna pull it up. I'll read
Yeah,
you some
Canada's
of them.
not having a great
They're
COVID
fucking
season.
funny.
Canada's not having a great virus season.
You hear what's going on in Michigan though,
Yeah.
bro?
The page, all those people are in the state house.
In the state house.
They want to recall the governor.
They ended up fucking what? They took the butt of their rifles, fucking hit it up against a press.
They said they
reporter's
were
head.
saying this is not your house; it's the people's house. So here's my thing: I'm for anybody protesting. I'm for anybody speaking their mind as long as they do it safely in the right way. So I don't, obviously these were, if you listen to the media, these are a bunch of white, country
Yep.
Trump supporters. And that's fine, whatever it may be. But the fact of the matter is, what you're going to have throughout this country is people are now starting to get mad about they gave their freedoms up. And here's the problem: we talked about this on the other show.
Yeah, last week.
How many people knowingly and willingly is like, okay, I'll stay in my house. Now the people that are like, okay, I'll stay in my house, started looking around, going, wait a minute, why the hell am I in my house? You can't tell me to stay in my house. And here they are. So that's what's going to happen. It's going to happen all over the place. So what's happening there is she extended to May 14th. She extended the stay-at-home order in Michigan to May 14th. And it's
another
Whitner,
10
right?
days,
Whitner.
Do you understand that's a lot of people not able to watch Star Wars in a public place?
And I think that's wrong.
Yeah. That's why they're rioting.
I think that is a serious problem that you can't watch Star Wars in the theaters.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, I've seen every Star Wars movie.
Speaking
in
of theaters, AMC is not going to show any Universal movies anymore.
They're not, and here's the other thing. They're talking about drive-in theaters are going to start getting built again. because you can be in your own car and watch the
That,
movies.
hey, I think that's cool. I mean,
yeah,
I
but
like that.
drive-ins. The reason, why they close drive-ins, right?
no,
I don't
I
want to have
don't.
to turn the radio off and like find the station. I mean,
So that was how it was at first, and then they put the box in
Right.
the window. So let me tell you my drive-in story,
tell
because
me.
you guys aren't old enough for
I've been to
drive-ins.
the drive-in.
Which drive-in?
There's one in the middle of Bumfuck,
No, that's
Missouri.
with 89-cent letter, and he
fucking
shows
Egypt
movies
Mills.
on his belly
Yeah.
while you're down on him.
Yeah, that's fucking Teletubby
Isn't that where you
shit.
guys go?
It's the alley across the street.
It's literally behind the
That's
library.
not a drive-in, Zach. That's Leonard's Belly. So my drive-in story is pretty cool. So it's 1979. Yes, 79.
He was 40.
No, listen to me. Star Wars,
Okay, boomer.
the
Now
original,
you have my attention.
right?
There.
The original Star Wars
Of course.
came out, and this was at the Starlight Drive-In in Cape. It's where Fountain Blue Lodge is right now, up on Kings Highway.
Dude, that was a drive-in movie theater?
That was a drive-in. It was right there.
What the fuck?
And so my mom was married to her second husband, my stepdad at the time, and we used to sneak his teenage kids in the trunk into the drive-in because you had to pay for how many people were in the car. So he would put his teenage kids in the trunk so he didn't have to pay for them, and we'd pop them out during the show. So we go to see the show, Star Wars. And I knew nothing about Star Wars, but it was the rage of the time. Like, everybody was pumped up about it. What's going on?
Stranded at the drive-in. Branded
That's not
a
the
fool.
That's not the lyrics. Rob Davis, if you're watching, he just screwed the lyrics up on Grease. He's a marked man. Anyway, that was a Grease song you were
Of
doing.
course.
Yeah, that was a good one. Hopelessly devoted to you.
I guess I haven't seen Grease enough to know what the fuck you
What?
guys are talking about.
You're fired from this free
Fuck.
show.
I'm
The
going to need you to take a
persecution.
big step back and literally go
Did you
flip
hear that?
yourself in your face.
You guys need to educate him and get him on the Grease.
There's like 2 songs.
Thank you.
Tell me more, tell me more.
Tell me more. Hopelessly devoted.
Thank you.
I thought it was Grease Lightning.
Bailey
She
knows.
gets it.
She gets it. How come
He immediately changed. Well, there's 3 songs.
She said there is 2.
there's more than 2, but there's 2 that you have to know.
I digress.
So we go and Star Wars is showing, so we go to watch Star Wars.
My old man agrees with you. He said that's the only way you could afford a drive-in back in the 70s.
Yeah, they charged by the head. It was like $2 a head.
Now, if it
It
makes
was-
you feel better, my old man is actually a boomer. He was born in 56.
Is that what it is? Oh, that is. Because it's 65. 1965 was the boomer start. So anyway,
And
yeah. So that was my drive-in thing. But you're right. AMC and Universal are having a problem.
Yeah.
And
And it's only
it's because
because
of-
say 24.
it's only because Universal decided they were going to put out their movies on video on demand because they're not making any damn money.
So yeah.
Chasing him.
So
Why is that a problem? I would understand.
anytime Zach sees somebody jogging, he's like, "Is somebody chasing that guy?"
It's just I would understand if they had an exclusive like contract with AMC to say, hey, you know, we'll only release our movies
So
to you guys.
So they call it the Netflix effect. If everybody wants
Yeah.
to know, Netflix basically killed movie theaters because Netflix basically, Netflix was an order by in the internet. You order.
Yes, I
you
used
actually,
to order the DVDs.
Right.
Yeah,
so
me
you
too.
get the DVD. You keep it
That's
as
how I
long.
got my anime series.
You keep it as long as you want, and then if
This
you
is the
ended
cheapest
up
way to
keeping
do
it,
it.
you could buy it. You could buy it for $14-15. And then streaming came on, and it became it was sketchy and bad at first, and then it became very
remember.
reliable.
Yeah, in 2008, I was part of the first group that had Netflix streaming. Everybody,
Really? Were you?
Yeah, everybody on my floor in Murray State, they were like, Netflix streaming? What movies are on there?
I'll be-
And Anaconda was one of the first movies on
Oh,
there.
dude, it's
And
still on
was that
there.
J-Lo?
No, it's Ice-T, I think, right?
No, it wasn't Ice-T. That's
No, no,
Ice
no,
Cube.
It's
Ice Cube, I'm sorry.
They don't
I'm
all
sorry.
look alike.
They
dude.
don't all
Shit.
look alike. I was gonna.
They have the same fucking name.
I was
Stop
gonna
it.
Say it too. You
Ice
race.
Cube.
you
No, one
racist.
goes in the other.
Shit. This just got
Wait,
gay.
remember the commercial? Ice tea. Is it lemonade? Iced tea. It's lemonade. It's lemonade. So
Yeah, that Anaconda was one of the first movies on there.
Man, the only thing
and
you
so
ever did is
was-
make a hot daughter.
I think Along Came Polly was also on there.
oh, Along Came Polly.
Still on there.
That's
No
a great.
shit.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
Along Came
Or not-
Polly
no,
and
not-
Heartbreak
I'm sorry.
Kid.
Did I say Along Came Polly? I
Yes, you
meant the other
clearly
Ben
did.
Stiller movie, Something about Mary.
Heavyweights.
Something About Mary.
Yeah.
Still on there.
Yeah,
That's a good one though.
Those,
that's a good
those
one.
were one of the two.
Those are the same.
I like her
That's the
cum hair.
Farley brothers, right? The Farley brothers did Something About Mary, right?
Yeah.
The ones that did Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
Speaking of Dumb and Dumber, not to go into too long, but I just ordered a bunch of the canvas prints for the bar, and it's the Harry when he's taking the crap, like you talked about. I'm putting that up in the men's bathroom right over the toilet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why? They're going to use it
And
as
there's
toilet paper.
and then there's one I'm going to put in the ladies.
It'll be framed, I'm sure.
No, there's one I'm going to put in the women's room over the toilet, and it's got this panda sitting in like a meditation pose, and it says, "Don't worry, girl, just let that shit go."
Nice.
Yeah, I know the bar's going to be awesome. But I ordered several of them. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I ordered several. You know what's pissing me off though is all the pictures that are up there, all the meme stuff that basically they're all yours. Basically, I've got a whole bunch of whole new batch of them, and all the kiosks are closed at Walmart because you can't touch the screen.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, no, I'm not kidding you. It's true.
Listen, at my job, they hired cleaning crews to clean every fucking 45 minutes to wipe doorknobs and fucking buttons.
Are you serious?
To wipe shit with, yeah, no,
Dude,
I'm
we
serious.
get an announcement over our intercom and we gotta fucking do that shit.
Well, apparently, you're not working for a multi-billion-dollar company.
Employees, it's
There's
time.
money to fucking burn.
Now it's going to be like the old black and white movies where it was like the German. Employees, it's time. Pick up your spray bottle and your wash rag and begin washing down your cubicles.
Dude, no, I'm dead ass serious.
We
Like,
have to do that at the end of the shift, but yeah.
I'm on the phone today and I hear over there come.
It is now time to wipe down your personal spaces. If you don't mind, wipe your personal spaces down.
Seriously?
Dude, dead ass serious.
So you work for Hitler?
I will not say that.
Okay,
He's
so
like-
here's the thing. I believe that we should all have some cleanliness habits through this. I'm
You do
fine
have to
with
follow
that.
my
Definitely.
fear though.
Every meeting when you raise your hand, it's like this. Hey, excuse
Hey,
me.
question.
Hey, I got a question.
Question, please.
Excuse me.
And also, you've got your tiki torch ready, on the ready. you're like, hey, I got a question.
Got a pocket full of wedding rings too.
Dude, the amount of gold teeth we have in shoes
God.
just piled up in the back on trade.
Shoes. You know what? One of the
bitch.
one of the most impactful. Listen,
I smell a lot of leather.
I got to turn
A lot of leather shoes.
I got to
I don't
turn
know
this
what the
around
fuck.
to a nice thought for a second because we just made fun of something
Terrible.
So one of the most impactful pictures I've ever seen is a black and white picture that a photographer took of all of the piles of shoes at Auschwitz.
I've actually seen those shoes at
So-
the Holocaust Museum.
Yeah, it is.
You've-
it's-
Like you've been?
I have.
Wow.
It made me cry so bad.
Yeah, it's terrifying to think about what happened when that happened. So we tell jokes and
Any
stuff.
size
But
15s?
Surprisingly, no.
I can't stop. I can't stop.
I didn't grab them to check.
so we talk about other countries and things that's going on. We talk about Canada. So North Korean leader Kim Jong Un had surgery, and they had complications.
Yes,
Yes.
most definitely.
Had complications during surgery, and he was in grave danger, but there was no verifiable proof. And of course, the media here started having a field day with it. And
Of course.
talking about he's near death, and they asked Trump about it. Trump goes, "Well, I hope you got to do it. Say I hope he's okay."
Well, yeah, I hope he's okay. But
I mean, I don't want him to.
some people are saying that he might not be okay, but I'm saying that I hope that he's all right. You know, he's a great man. I've had.
And then in the
many,
background,
many
there's Elton John.
conversations.
Rocket Man, sitting in the hospital, sick as hell.
Have you seen the meme that said that showed the pictures of the doctors? It's Seth Rogen and fucking James
Oh, like the
Franco
interview?
from the interview.
Yeah.
And it's just they're just cheesing. They're like, yeah.
So they talked to South Korea, and South Korea denied that they don't believe that he's really that sick. They believe that he had a surgery, and there might have been a little bit of issue. But South Korea is right there watching him.
Yeah. Well, also they have the most to lose if he's still alive, and they piss him off.
Right. They really
So,
do.
Yeah.
You're right.
So I mean,
You're
they're
right.
of course going to say, "Oh yeah, no, he's still alive. We're still fucking afraid."
Well,
of
and
him.
there's nothing more dangerous than someone like a megalomaniac, like
Yeah, exactly.
Un, thinking he's dying.
Yeah. Well, he could
Because,
go. I'm going to invade now. Let's do
Well,
that. Shit
that's
now.
exactly right.
Yeah.
And dying declaration, yelling out about, I'm going to do this, and we have this. But think
Exactly.
about his sister is the next in line. Now that would be interesting.
It would.
Because he's always kept his sister. You know, he evidently killed one of his brothers. They say.
Yeah, I don't know about all that.
I don't know about that either. We just don't know. They call it the Hermit Kingdom for a reason. Nobody knows anything that goes on for real. But people that have been there and talked about it, his sister's evidently crazier than he is.
Yeah.
But I think they do that a lot because I think they like to make, and this is sad, but it's
Yeah.
true. They like to make female leaders out to be a little bit off.
Well, I think,
And I don't like it. I don't think it's fair. But
what it probably is, and it seems like in my, and this could be, I could be wrong here, but it seems like at least with what we've heard that comes out of that area of the country, that they tend to not give women their fair shake.
Exactly.
So maybe it's
which would be interesting.
Which maybe what it is maybe we're hearing it wrong, that maybe she's trying to put on a front and trying to make herself look bigger than she is just to try to outshine.
Yeah.
And
That's a
say,
good
yeah,
possibility.
I can do it, and I'm going to be harder and scarier.
Now, she's
and
actually,
more
I believe,
badass,
thank you,
know?
thank you, Vesper. She's actually a younger sister, I believe. But it would be interesting. We're talking about North Korea and Kim Jong Un,
Oh, brain dead fuck.
and his.
Let's hope.
He's not brain dead.
Let's hope
But
he is,
his
though.
sister's next in line.
I know.
She's actually the only one left, evidently, because Un, with all of the girls, like, so you know what he does. As long as his dad started, actually his grandpa started this. They go into town, into the main city, and they actually go and they find young women that they like. So remember back, what did they call that when the king used to? It was happening on Braveheart. The
Oh, and
king,
you adopt somebody?
no.
No,
It
it's,
said not parlay. The king.
Prima Nocta.
Prima nocta,
Oh,
where the
yeah.
king has a right before the woman gets married to deflower her.
Yep.
So I've heard that
Mr. Fuck Your Girl.
Kim Jong Un, his grandpa started this. They would go into town and they'd find these young women that were young and vibrant and everything in North Korea, and they'd take them to their area and do stuff with them. So it'd be interesting, like you said, women there have been oppressed and still are for years. In fact, the whole country's oppressive. But it'd be interesting to see if Kim Jong Un's out. He has no children, no lineage, no line
Right.
of relief. So she would be in line. And like you
He's
said,
never shit.
huh?
The guy's never taken a shit.
How do you know?
Well, no, that's what they say.
He is so efficient in his work that his body will process his waste so he doesn't have to stop, so he can keep doing
You
great.
actually have Korean propaganda. You just
No,
said.
that is their propaganda.
that's what
that's
I'm
what
saying.
they say. Yeah.
I know.
Dude,
That's
come
yeah.
on.
You ever watch the everybody at the speeches and
Dude,
stuff?
I love it because they'll look around and they're
bunch
like,
of
oh, shit,
robots.
I'm not clapping.
Yeah, as soon as they see
and
the
the
camera,
first person to
yeah.
stop clapping, they're like, "Get him,
Yeah,
take him."
Get the fuck out.
And then they
clap.
kill him.
Look, they clap so fake enthusiastic like robots. It's so funny. And
We are happy
here
here.
he sits there and waves to him and everything. So it would be interesting. I would actually like to see now a woman take over North Korea, because I'd like to see what could happen.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see,
me fuel, give me
the
fire.
fact that, we as a country, the free world, leader of the free world, have not had a female president, but there will be a female dictator before we have a
Well, a lot of people in the
freely
world,
elected
a lot of people in the world,
Probably
and,
still has a bigger dick than our
more,
president.
most likely.
and then in this country have said this for years. I'm completely cool with a woman being president.
Oh, yeah, me
I have
too.
no issue.
I'm
In fact,
ready.
I'd like to see
Let's do it.
what they would do with the office, but we got to find a freaking good candidate.
And also,
for
I want to
God's
know
sake.
if they
I
would
am
gray as
old-fashioned.
fast as our male presidents do. That's what I want to know.
They what?
I want to know if they would gray as fast. Their hair.
Well, they wouldn't show gray. Look at Merkel.
Well, that's
Merkel's
another
like
thing.
close to 70.
Pelosi
She has no
doesn't
gray
show
hair.
gray.
Yeah, well, she's also the devil.
She's not real though. She's plastic. She's not. She's like a robot.
She's also the devil. So
Did you see that one I post about if what was that one about if syphilis had a poster child and that's supposed to go on with her lips all I don't know, syphilis or whatever it was, but anyway, it'd be interesting to see.
herpes.
Be interesting to think what would happen if North Korean the leader actually went out. It's actually concerning to me in one way because, like you said, you mentioned
Yeah.
what we do as part of his dying,
yeah,
wish.
I think that at that point, if you're going to make a statement,
Yeah.
you make a statement,
You
which
go-
would
you
be
go
to,
out big, yeah.
which would be to take Korea back and then maybe go ahead and launch a fucking missile like they keep trying to
No,
do.
you want to know what he should do? If he's got like one final, like in his final breath, the Korean people are free, and then fucking die.
Oh shit.
He would go down as the world's greatest fucking leader.
That would be amazing. Could you imagine?
He freed an entire nation from oppression with his final breath. He is a
So
saint.
yeah, so no, that's interesting, man. So think about this. So Kim Jong Un's on his deathbed, right?
Yep.
He's laying there. He calls all the major press in there, and he invites like CNN and Fox, right? Unprecedented access. And they all go to the hotel room. They all go to his hospital room, and he's laying there, and he's all chubby faced, sick, and he says, My doctors have told me that I have maybe a day or two left," and he says, "I know that it's been hard for everyone, and I wanted to respect my father and my grandfather, so I carried on the lineage, but it's time for a change. So I declare, as the leader of North Korea, my final declaration is all people of North Korea are free, travel freely, open the borders. No more oppression, no more enslavement.
There's no
open
more
the
South
media.
or North Korea. It's
Yeah, there's
just
no more
Korea.
South and North.
Go.
I had secret meetings with the South Korean president, and we were opening up the borders. You're right. He would go down as one of the best leaders ever, even though he's a knucklehead.
Right.
Wow.
No, he's a
100%
fuck
I didn't even
stand.
think about that. Could you
Oh,
imagine?
dude, it's my same
the
theory. Why Trump
ultimate.
needs to say he's a woman.
Oh wait, what?
That would be her. that
Go
would be
back
awesome.
and
No, that would be awesome.
unpack that.
No,
Wait,
What?
have you not heard this?
No.
Yeah, there was a thing going on Facebook, social media, but Zach actually kind of extended it
Let's
a little
hear
bit.
this.
All right. So, how do we get the first female president of the United States? We have our current president claim that they're a woman. Because now that does one of two things. One, they have to accept it. And now we have the first female president of the United States, hands down, doesn't matter if it's Donald Trump, Obama, Biden, doesn't matter.
Okay.
Or they have to call bullshit on their own philosophy.
What philosophy is that?
That anybody can say they're a woman by just saying they're a woman.
I don't,
blows-
I don't
it- well-
follow.
Okay, so the
I
left,
am
the
drunk,
left. Listen,
but-
listen. The left
Yeah.
says, and this is their belief, that you can be fluid gender. You can be gendered fluidity. You can be whatever sex you want to be, whatever you think you are, feel you are. You can
Look
be
at the
that.
men competing in.
Right.
Oh yeah, we
So
talked
if
about
Trump
this.
said he
Okay,
was a
all right, all
woman, if he said it and he came out as a woman, they would have to either go along with what he said and know it's ridiculous, or actually say what they were believing in and
Because the
espousing.
moment they.
But you know they would go along with what he said.
The
Though, right?
moment they target him,
No.
they
No,
are
they
now
don't.
what they claimed us
100%.
to be.
That's the thing, is it's foolproof. If
But
they
yeah.
target him and say, you're not what, you're just
You're
doing
not
that.
a woman. You can't do that.
Yeah.
Whoa, you can't
Think
tell
about
me
it.
that.
But they wouldn't do that. That's the thing.
No, they would.
I don't think so.
I think Pelosi would be the first to throw the
Yeah,
stone.
this is.
she
Pelosi would
is
say,
evil, but-
"This is ridiculous." Donald Trump knows that he's just doing this for attention. He's trying to,
Yeah,
make
but what's
it like.
different from anything else that he fucking does? It's
I know,
Look
but
at Bruce
literally
Jenner.
would totally be
but
within
look,
his.
it's so
realm to
wacky. It's so like into their realm that it might actually work.
I mean,
could you imagine
I think that
Trump coming
personally-
out and say, "I hate guns and I'm a woman"?
I think personally that it would be, for me, hilarious to watch unfold.
So there's a lot of things that I want to see happen. Like I was okay with Armageddon through this COVID thing.
Dude,
I wanted to
we
see.
were
I wanted
already
a
plotting.
reset. I wanted a reset.
Oh, can we talk about some of these conspiracy theories about COVID? I heard of one.
Oh, there's a bunch of them.
I heard one on Joe Rogan the other day. Duncan Trussell was on there, and he mentioned this one, not just the 5G one, but another one that was like some major cosmic event might be happening, and that in order to save all of us and have maximum survivability, that the government and a bunch of other scientists have created COVID-19 as a way to keep us in our house to try to prevent us from dying.
obviously, the major event that's
aliens.
happening is
But
called Galactus.
Well, he's gonna eat the planet, so it doesn't fucking matter.
So what was it that Facebook post that said?
Can't escape.
We have Silver Surfer.
That said
He's just the herald, okay?
all the stuff that's going on right now, and nobody's shocked about aliens because the CIA just
Right.
admitted. The CIA
No,
actually
they released three videos.
They
which
actually-
doesn't do shit. I
No,
mean,
but they put out. There's a thing going around on the internet where it's actually a memo from the CIA, the director,
Yeah.
that's gone through the CCs, and it's basically saying this object, and basically saying it's a UFO.
well, UFO, unidentified flying object. They don't know what it is. It doesn't say that it's an alien.
Would
Hater.
you say that it is alien
Hater.
to them?
Hater.
No, they say that it's
Hater.
unidentified. They don't know
So
what
it is
is.
alien to them.
No, it means they
Okay.
don't know what it is.
What we're saying is, for the first time, the CIA is actually admitting that what we have thought for years and years. And yes, they call it UFO because it's unidentified flying object.
Hey,
Yeah,
Jamie,
that's
can
what
you
it
pull
means.
up the definition of alien for me?
Alien means
Jamie.
not of this earth.
So here's the thing: I want there to be aliens
Yeah, we
because
all
I
do.
want to
I
know
want
that
to believe.
I want to know that we're not the only.
Same.
Yeah.
It's a waste of us to be here.
Files.
Otherwise,
the truth is out there. I want to believe.
Well, let's be honest.
oh, is
water's
this the
gonna kill
scene?
him.
Is this
Water's gonna kill him.
is this the scene?
Which scene are you
Which scene
talking
are you
about?
talking
Where he walks up into the water and then he sees like the woman, but then it turns out she's
No,
like a
it's already
fucking,
past
like,
that. It's already past
fucking-
that.
oh,
That's
God.
earlier.
We've already passed.
He already
that.
killed the seagull.
No, this was after.
Seagulls. Stop it now.
Yeah. So
We need to talk about this movie also, like on here.
So we kind of started something last week where it was actually your idea where you mentioned we should watch a movie and
Yes,
talk about it. So,
think so.
last week we talked about Clockwork Orange, which was pretty cool. That's
I
one of
did
my
like it.
favorites,
Yeah, it's a
and
good film.
we talked about Stanley Kubrick in general as being a revolutionary and you know transcendent. You know he really
He was
made
the definition of his art.
He was, and he made a lot of social statements, but he did it through art. So this week, we decided on the other end of the spectrum to talk about comedy, and this comedy actually is a social comedy, and it's a press against the people that are all PC, which is Blazing Saddles.
Well, it
So-
wasn't at the time.
Let's be honest.
No, it was at the time.
Was it?
Yeah.
76?
Yeah.
I don't think
still
they
was
knew
at the
what
time.
PC was at that time.
Well, okay. Here's the thing.
Not to mention, and I don't care if you get offended on this or not.
No, you don't care if someone's offended.
Right
We'll watch it.
When did that happen?
during that time, all the way through the '80s into the early '90s, a Jew could do what they fucking wanted.
That's true. They had the money. They had the power to do whatever
And
they want.
Mel Brooks used that to his advantage.
Well, yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why he kept his shtick up even more.
Yeah.
You know, when he was on screen, he talked heavy with the Yiddish accent.
Yeah.
You know, and would use a lot of Yiddish in his.
Your Schwartz is bigger than mine.
You got a lot of chutzpah, kid.
Got a lot of his kid. So we're going to talk
It's
about.
the Spaceballs
We're going to talk about
flamethrower.
we're going to talk about Blazing Saddles for a little bit here at the end of the show. So you are watching Sessions stream live from Shaker's Bar downtown Cape, as every week on Thursday from 8 to 10 p.m. And the better the show gets, the more people watch, and the more people watch, the better the show gets. It's kind of in turn. You guys.
Kind of weird how that works.
Yeah, the people that watch know, as we have done this show. This is episode 38, by the way, 38 episodes.
38.
I want the show to get better and better and better, and have better content and better conversations. And
I've been here for 30 of them.
you've been here for, let's see, you got here episode.
I missed the first 3,
I think
and then I
you
think
were
I
here
took
for
2 or 3 off.
You were here for episode 8 or 9, I believe. So yeah, you've been here almost since the beginning. We were still for the first 3 or 4. We were sitting over here. We actually started over there.
Shit, I don't even remember how many I've been on.
This is your 6th one.
Is it 6?
Yeah,
Man, this seems
Catch
like a
up.
lot.
yeah.
Yeah, I need
So, we like to talk about funny stuff, and we make fun of a lot of stuff, and we don't like to be PC on the show. But I do want to give credit to something right now that I did some research, and I've always had an affinity and a respect for the American Indian. I always have. Not only their place in the American history, but just in general, their philosophies and how they lived, and they had this very community organized. You know, they were socialists basically. So I have a lot of respect for that. I have a lot of respect for.
You have a lot of respect for socialism?
I have a lot of respect for people that can support each other, that can help each
communities.
other. Yeah, I have a lot of support for communities. Something that we used to have in this country,
And we
I'm not-
will have again at
and
some point.
I think sometimes it kind of comes back to that. But anyway, I wanted to talk about this because there were 2 American Indians in history that were so notable and so memorable that not only did one artist make a song about one, but one was, to me, and I've said this for years, was the greatest athlete alive. So the first one is Ira Hayes. I don't know if you're familiar with Ira Hayes.
I'm not.
Well,
Not by
you're
name.
about to get educated. Ira Hayes was the one of the 4 or 5 people that put the flag up at Iwo Jima.
Really? Okay.
So the statue, Ira Hayes is one of the flag holders, flag bearers. He was the one of the first American Indians, I think the only American Indian that received the awards that he did. But he was in World War II. And was that Iwo Jima? Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. World War II was Iwo Jima. I didn't want to get the wars wrong because that's so disgusting when you listen to somebody talk and they get confused with World War I, World War II, and I'm like, totally different theater.
Was he one of the Navajo Wind Talkers?
No, he was not in the
Am I
Navajo.
getting that mixed
No,
up?
You're an
Windtalkers.
entirely different
Oh,
war.
my fault.
Yeah, Windtalkers was what, Korea,
Korea.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah,
Vietnam, or Korea? It was
Vietnam.
Korea.
It was
It
Vietnam.
was
Vietnam or
Korea.
Korea. But
Pretty sure it was Korea.
But Ira Hayes paved the way for those guys, right? So Ira Hayes, and in my research, I didn't put down what tribe he is from, but regardless, Johnny Cash redid a song about Ira Hayes, and the song was about him going off to war and becoming a Marine. And he received, I think he received the Silver Star or something along that lines. But you guys can look them up. But when I bring these names up and bring this information up, my whole goal with that is for you to educate yourself and to learn a little bit and to learn about our history. Ira Hayes was an amazing individual. Not only did he serve the country, but he got out and had a very distinctual life. But he ended up dying, of course, on a reservation, alcohol, and all the typical story. The second Indian that I believe is the greatest athlete that's ever lived is Jim Thorpe. Jim Thorpe's his whole resume in sports is phenomenal. No one has it, and that's why I've talked to Chris Monroe. We talked. He thinks Bo Jackson is the greatest athlete that's ever lived, and I think Jim Thorpe is. So Jim Thorpe won the decathlon and pentathlon in the same Olympics, gold medal in both. He was also in the NFL. He was a professional baseball player. And he actually played, I believe it was soccer, but he played at really high levels on all of them. And this is back in the 1920s. He played in I think the second. He was also the commissioner of the American Football Association, which was predated the NFL. But anyway, I wanted to give credit to those individuals because they're not talked about a lot. You've seen documentaries, you've heard about them. But, Ira Hayes and Jim Thorpe were American Indians, and they did a lot for this country. So I wanted to make sure that people got that information, necessary information, so you can educate yourself. Which brings us into our next critical conversation, which is the two doctors that have stunk up the internet with their facts and their realism.
I'll be honest with you, I have no idea who you're talking about
Okay.
because I have actually blocked my Facebook app. Other than to watch this and other stuff, I don't pull it up throughout the day.
Well, it's not Facebook. So they first appeared on YouTube with a video which was about 50 minutes long. So I went and found it and reposted it on Facebook. But YouTube, this is what we're going to get to here.
Okay.
So these two doctors were from East Coast somewhere, I believe. No, California. They were from California. They are against the lockdowns. I would just put it that way.
So
And
they don't want anybody
they
to
think
be...
it's time to get back to work, back to life.
Okay.
They don't think that the models are. They think the facts are wrong and the numbers are wrong.
Well, the numbers are definitely wrong.
And they're reporting from the front lines. They both worked in a hospital. They saw it all. And then they started talking about. And here's my thing. And right now everybody's. We're already into that where there are certain people on Facebook and social media making their friends and family feel guilty for wanting to get back out there in the world and
No,
go to
you
life.
shouldn't feel bad.
Well, no, you shouldn't feel bad, but there are people doing that. In fact, there was one individual, which I'm not going to say her name, but she posted a meme about. It shows. Yeah, I know. It shows individuals holding signs like at a protest saying, "It's time to get out. It's time to work." And then there's somebody like in scrub outfit with a mask on going, "See you soon." And it's basically a jab at everybody that's wanting to get back out in the world. So the reason I bring this up is for two reasons. One is we're going to talk about the doctors briefly, and then we're going to talk about what happened, the result on social media, what happened from this. So the doctors basically were talking about what they observed on the front lines with the COVID crisis, and basically the numbers were all off and wrong. The media was not being honest with the people watching. And people out there, there may be somebody that gets irritated about this because we're giving out facts, but the bottom line is this. On the side of being fair, in all fairness, is it possible that the numbers were wrong because it's an ever-changing situation?
Most
Sure,
definitely.
that's possible.
Or it's entirely.
And that's where Zach and I are at is it's entirely planned, and it's the way they did it
Which
because it's
we've
being
been
used.
at that since
yeah,
this fucking
it's
started.
being used politically, and we talked about this too. We talked about this on the show, but Zach and I have talked privately. We have made announcements on the show and basically said Gavin basically predicted some things, and several of the things, like this whole COVID thing now with how it's ending, is exact. We called this when we did our first
Do you
show.
actually think this is the end, or you think it's actually going to?
No, we predicted. We talked about there's going to be a second. It's going to be worse. The second round's going to be worse. They're going to try to lock us back
On the plus
down.
side, we get more free money.
Yeah, they're going to do another free money round, and then they're going to try to lock us down again. Everybody's going to rebel and not want to lock down because they're going to think it's bullshit. And that's when you're going to have mandatory stuff, and then that's when people leave that the martial law is going to come into play. Anyway, the point to all this is there's two sides to this. One is these doctors, and you got to be brave. You got to think about this. These two guys,
Put their jobs on the line.
they put their jobs on the line, and they put themselves out there because they said their names. They said what hospital they work in.
They snowed in themselves.
They snowed in themselves. And during this time because governments know if they put a little bit of wrench in the works, we just eat ourselves. What was that saying about people eat themselves? It was Joker. You sent me that meme or that video of the scene when Joker's
Oh,
in jail.
absolutely.
And he's talking to Batman. And he's talking. He showed the
How'd the words
video
go?
of all these people in grocery stores fighting over toilet paper, and he's saying all these people with their civility and their morality, they'll eat each other.
You think these cops, they need you? No, they don't need you. The minute that you're not useful, they'll eat each other.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And while he's doing that, it said something about the Joker knew what was going to happen. It's showing scenes
agent
from
of chaos.
actual scenes from grocery stores and department stores of
Right.
people fighting over toilet paper and box of
Dude, I watched an old lady get bitch slapped.
Yeah.
Unacceptable.
No, fully acceptable.
But here's the thing. There's two sides to that. The one side of the argument is smacking somebody over pasta is ridiculous, but then the other side says that's my freaking pasta. So
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's
Don't
the thing
tread
is
on me, bro.
the Joker was basically in it was just lines in a movie, but the truth of the matter is he's being honest. And this is what these doctors are trying to point out is listen, we need to wake up. And that's the one thing they said, everybody wake up. This is not what you think it is. And it's now that we've gone into this now second 2.5 months of it. I know here by the time we open it's almost 7 weeks. I closed, and I'll be completely honest, I closed out of respect of everybody that was scared. I'm just being honest. I didn't close because I wanted to, and I didn't close because I thought it was necessary. I closed because I wanted to respect people that were fearful of what was going on.
I would have been here with you.
I know you would have, but I knew that at some point we stayed open. It was us and Hot Shots were the only ones left open. We stayed open as long as we possibly could until it became, when Parsons came out, it became like obvious if we stayed open it would have been a problem. And then the health department put out information. So these doctors come out and they tell the truth, what they're saying the truth is about COVID, and they're giving alternative facts to what the media is putting out. The problem with it is what they're trying to say is, listen, you don't have to listen to everything we're saying, but we've been there, but stop listening to the media because the media has an agenda. And then I saw a clip with Farrakhan, and I never agree with Farrakhan, ever. And Minister
Did this
Farrakhan
time.
from the Nation of Islam, Farrakhan he was doing a radio interview, and he's sitting there in front of cameras. It's one of these podcast / radio interviews, and there's a bunch of press there. Anytime Farrakhan, he calls, the press goes. And he starts talking directly to the press, and he's pointing at him, he's angry. And he's lecturing the press like, you are slaves. You're a bought and paid for. You're telling stories and not being truthful. No one wants to listen to you anymore. No one cares. And he said, if you instead of telling the truth, you tell these stories and you keep people enslaved and trapped in this mindset of what's going on. And we talked about on the show, we talked about the Matrix before. We talked about how we need to free our minds. Sure. That's what these two doctors are doing. They're trying to let everybody know, look, you don't have to actually believe everything we're saying, but get out there and look for yourself. And the problem is, the more you look, the more you see that there's problems.
Yeah.
And the numbers aren't lining up with what's going on. Flatten the curve and this, and the predictions and the measure, everything they put out was not coming what it was supposed to be.
Well, first of all, I mean, the World Health Organization was wrong with what they told us to begin with, what to look for.
Right.
Then,
Fuck the World Health
agreed. And
Organization.
then Trump said, fuck you, we're not giving you any more money. And I was like, all right. So fuck that.
We were their main funding.
Yeah, and 80% of their fucking funding came from us. Well,
It was
fuck
something like
that.
80%. It was
Yeah.
a lot. It was
probably more
several
than that.
million.
It was probably more than that.
It was several million, and that's the problem. The guy that runs the World Health Organization has ties to China, and they basically connected all the dots for you and basically said, this is why, and I'm going to bring something about Fauci in a minute, but this is why this is all falling apart. This is why that the argument and the defense of being locked down is falling apart, because all of the players involved that were supposed to be giving us our information are now being turned out to be players in a game to feed us information,
Yeah, I mean,
to
we're
keep
all
us
pawns, you know?
we're all pawns in it. And that's what these doctors are doing. They're saying, wake up, don't be pawns, don't be robots, don't play in the matrix. You need to be out there and doing your research. And that's where, like, this is what I tell people on the show is, you don't have to believe anything I'm saying, and you don't have to think what I'm saying is true. Go look for it yourself.
get educated.
Yeah,
Find
when I
out.
tell you take vitamin D and K and vitamin A, and people get all pissed about it. If you don't want to take it, don't take it. If you don't want to watch the show, don't watch the show. But look it up yourself and see what if you.
And shouldn't you always look up shit and
that's
do
the
your
problem.
own research?
That's the problem.
Like
The
that's what
problem
I'm
is
saying. You should
People
probably
no
right.
longer have the desire to
No.
learn anything.
They want to
Why
be
do you
fed.
have to learn
No,
when you
fuck
carry
that.
around a computer?
Yeah.
Look, if somebody told me that the sky was fucking green, and I didn't go out and I said, oh, and I just accepted it, you know, and go on about my
See, I
fucking
actually
day.
think the sky doesn't have a color.
All I'm
personally.
saying is that if somebody said something that I didn't know was true or not, and I just didn't question it, where the fuck would we all be? Like, really?
I think everybody in
We
their,
all be in that fucking cave last week looking at fucking
the allegory of the
shadows
cave, and
on-
that's
on
the whole
fucking
point.
wall, is
You
what
know
I'm
what
saying.
these doctors did? The doctors stepped out of the cave. And
Exactly.
they said, "Look what we're seeing," and they're in the middle of it. And this is the thing that I knew would happen. We actually talked about this privately, about doctors and professionals would start coming out going, "Wait a minute," because they're tired of the lies. They're seeing the news report stuff, and these doctors are going, "Wait, that's not happening here." And California and New York are both hotbeds. They're both very critically.
You want to know why I think everybody's fucking dying?
Probably from other things, and then they're just saying, "Oh, COVID's a thing. Let's go
Oh.
ahead and put that and tally it up."
I'm
That's
gonna
true.
go with just the sheer concept of they wear the same mask day in and day out.
Well, there's a shortage. Apparently,
There's not.
there is.
First of all, they say that the mask really doesn't help anybody except yourself. You
Right.
don't poison anybody else. But anyway,
But now, think of it this way, though. Hear me out. You're wearing a personal protective equipment, right?
Yeah.
PPE. That's fine. It's protecting you.
Yeah.
Now, let's say some motherfucker coughs on you. Well, it
Sure.
protected you. That's fine. But now, you're having to go stitch a guy
it's
up.
legal to punch them in the face, right?
Absolutely.
You can punch them right in their pie hole.
Right in their fucking
I've seen
cocksucker.
a couple of videos
Okay.
of people getting punched and shit. And
So
nothing happens.
now, they're wearing that same mask. They go into the next room
You think it's gonna
to stitch
like
you up.
get fed off of that mask onto them?
Well, you just don't know.
I don't
Like,
think the
nobody
deaths are coming
knows.
from COVID.
No, I'm the same way. I think it's
I
something
think
else.
it's coming from just cross-contamination of medical equipment.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's the problem. That's a good point.
They're
That's the
not dying
problem.
from COVID. They're dying from infections.
Well, I mean, some
But
people
yeah, no.
people die from COVID, but the point is exactly right. How do we know?
We don't, and then they're chalking it up to COVID, and that's bumping up
Well,
the numbers, and that's scaring everybody.
There was an article from somebody that was a psychologist, and they said that their mother or father passed away from a heart attack.
Yeah, exactly. And
Went to
then
the
they said it's
hospital,
COVID.
and the hospital was pressured by the administration to say it was COVID.
Yeah, exactly.
And they were like, "No, it's not COVID. I'm not going to say that." And the doctors were arguing with them administratively.
How much money is it per patient with COVID? It's like $1,500 extra.
What do you mean? Financing?
Yeah, you get
No,
extra.
it's more than that.
Is it more? I
Yeah.
thought it was actually on the lower end.
What do you mean?
I don't know.
Say that again. What do you mean? It's
They
1,500?
get like $1,500 a day.
I'll be right back.
Who
I'm taking
does?
a bathroom break.
Hospitals and
COVID
shit.
patient?
Yeah.
Oh, hospital.
So if you throw on the tagline of this person has COVID, doesn't matter the fact that they have a deteriorating illness.
Oh yeah, I get what you're saying. It's
Now
all
they
it's
have
all about
extra-
numbers.
yeah.
Well, it's the same way we talked about prison last week or the week
Yeah.
before. The state of Missouri, and I know this because I used to work in a prison, $38,000 a year for each prisoner. That's what their funding is. So every prisoner that's locked up in the penitentiary in Missouri, jails, county jails, whatever, $38,000 is what the state gets on a budget from the state house. So it behooves them to have as many people in jail as possible.
Well, of course.
Same thing with COVID. It's all about numbers. It's a numbers game now. The bigger the numbers, the more money you get.
No, wake the fuck up, people.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, at this point, you're no longer, you're not fucking sick.
Well, here's the thing. But maybe you are sick, but how do we know it's not the flu, an allergy?
And that's the thing.
You know, there's people dying from heart attacks, and hospitals are saying, no, it's COVID. No, it's clearly a heart attack. No, they immune
no, but
compromised.
now it's going to be, you died from COVID complications.
Yeah.
No, you died because you just had a fucking coronary.
Well, and my thing is, I'm going to wait for him to come back for this next part, but what happens the next round or the next time?
Right.
You know, we're talking about probably August or September.
Absolutely.
When the next round comes up. And so we're looking at like October in the fall when it cools off again. When it cools off, because, you know, according to Trump, it doesn't like the heat. The virus doesn't like the heat.
Doesn't like extreme cold.
Right.
You know, but like, here's the thing. All right, everybody's got COVID, blah, blah, blah. Everybody's dying, blah, blah, blah.
Everybody's got the COVID,
Right?
baby.
If everybody has this, where the fuck are my stats on sick people?
Well, that's the thing.
Dude, I'm still fucked up on that.
Yeah, you don't know, and that's the thing is, where are all the heart attacks and cancer? We talked about this before, is where do they go? Because right now, most hospitals, and this was from people in the field and then people talking about stats, and whether you can believe it or not, but most hospitals are at like 45% capacity.
Right.
This is not my stat. This is what I read online. And a lot of doctors and nurses are getting furloughed. They're getting basically laid off. Furlough is a nice way of saying, don't come back until we have the money.
Right.
You know, and so my whole thing about this is everything's getting blurred now. Everything's getting like passed around and confused because the numbers were so screwy.
Right.
So now they can say whatever they want. That's the problem is these doctors and other people like these doctors just want some focus. They want some balance
So
to
here's
it.
a question then. If we're finally seeing these stats, we're finally having medical professional. People see doctors as some of the most educated individuals ever, correct?
Right, of course.
Why are we still hung up on this then? We now have our doctors saying this is fucking horse shit.
Well, because there are some doctors that are denying these other doctors, saying that they must be part of a plan or something. So that's the problem is we don't know, and because we don't know, the absence of facts makes me believe something else.
Absolutely.
So these doctors are coming out with stats. They have their printouts from the ER and from admittance, and they're actually reading off their papers about it. And it bothers the CDC and the WHO because they set this whole thing in motion. And was it something to be concerned about? Sure, it was. COVID's a bad thing. Anything that attacks us as a virus is a bad thing. But we have to understand, man, this is not our first virus, for freak's sake. It's not the first thing we've dealt with, but it's the first thing like this, and the media in this time and age, and I hate to say this, but they wanted to screw our economy up. And it just, bottom line.
Well, it fucking worked.
Bottom line. Well, it'll get back, though. That's the thing, is Trump will find a way. But the bottom line is this, is regardless of the economy and everybody needs to be aware of things themselves, and don't just listen. Like, don't just listen. Like, nobody listens to us. And if they don't believe something we say, they go look it up. We tell them to look it up.
Look it up.
Yeah, look it up. So go find these. Now, I shared it on Facebook. I'm quite sure it'll probably get taken down. But I shared the original 51-minute interview where they sit at a table. They brought in a camera crew, and they did a live feed on Facebook, and they put it on YouTube. But that's where we're going to go next, because this is the other concern of all of this, is something we should all be scared to death of, what is happening online right now. A lot of
Censorship?
people don't know this,
100%.
right? Social media giants like Facebook, Google, and YouTube are all removing accounts, posts that they determined to not meet certain standards,
This
right?
is not the first time we've talked on this.
It's not the first time we talked. We talked about it for a long time, but now it's menacing, because now when people are trying to tell their truth about what they've seen about this virus, they're yanking the story down.
Yeah, that's some Big Brother shit.
And yeah, that is some Big Brother shit. And here's the problem: the companies that are doing it are explaining it like it's everybody should be okay with it.
No,
the lady
just
from
because your
the
shit
lady,
doesn't fucking fit a narrative.
the
doesn't mean you
CEO
never
or
can pull
president
it
of
off.
YouTube, I can't remember what her name is, but she gave an interview, and
Call her bitch one.
they basically, the problem with her is she's part of the problem. She's a part of the cog too. She's in the matrix, and
Big
that's who
sister.
she is. she gave an interview and they talked about this, and she explained why this video specifically from these doctors was pulled down. And her reasoning was it doesn't meet our standards. And then they asked what that meant. And she basically explained it like, if it's unverifiable medical facts and if it's something that could hurt somebody, we're going to pull it down. Everybody out there should be so concerned about that. Should be immediately like, uh-oh, because what you've got now is you've got millions of people that locked down on order without any, they just did it. Hell, I closed my business for almost 7 weeks.
Yeah, but
And
you
then,
want to pay the fines?
no, but that's the problem. That's communism.
I know.
That is communism, folks. You are allowing people in positions of authority to dictate and tell you what to do, which is
undue
communism.
censorship.
Well, it's not just undue. No, it's worse than that, man. What you don't understand is that's why it's called the First Amendment. It's the most important of all the amendments to the Constitution.
This is the start of a turning point of a revolution in our nation.
And that's the thing is all of the prepper
We are now on
stuff,
a time clock, and personally, I give it 20 years, and we are at war.
Now, also, I agree with what you guys are saying on this thing, but here's where I'm going to differ. Here's where I'm going to differ. Hold on. I agree with you. We should never censor anybody saying what they feel is the truth, ever. But
No,
we're also
there's no exception.
Hold on.
Are you going with inciting panic?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
I was
No.
hoping he was.
No,
I
definitely
would have
not.
gave him a ground.
Definitely not. They're using. Okay, there's nothing that says that you can't say your truth, but they are providing the box, and they're saying we're not going to allow certain people to say what they want on this box. They're going to pull the box. So you just got to get more creative about how you get your message out there. I guess.
No, you're right.
It's shitty,
You're
but
right.
that's the truth. That's
You're
the
right
matter.
by definition.
Well, then
Yeah.
The problem with that
explain
is
why every single person with a fucking box right now owns our entire media market.
Well, that's another bullshit thing that, unfortunately, capitalism. That's the problem.
no, it's not-
Is that
No,
they have
capitalism
bought
is not the problem.
No, what I'm
Capitalism-
saying is that they've all bought the media groups, and now it's to the point where they're
No,
shutting
that's not
everybody.
capitalism.
They're shutting us out.
That's not
Oh, I'm
capitalism.
sorry,
That's
monopoly.
communism.
Monopoly.
Yeah, that's communism. That's not capitalism. Capitalism is free markets. So everybody has
They
a
had the
chance
free
to
market
own
to
stuff.
buy all the media markets, and now we're fucked.
Well,
Can't
if
get our
you look at
message
a
out.
company like Disney, for example, Disney owns ABC, ESPN, Fox, so much stuff. Avengers, they own all of that stuff,
Marvel.
right? Marvel. Hell, they bought Viacom back when they owned Blockbuster.
Right.
But the whole point of this
Disney owns
is
Blockbuster.
you've basically got if you look at
Last one's free.
I remember one time I looked at George Soros and what he owns, and they had George Soros at the top, and they had all these companies. There were hundreds of them, basically subsidiaries and owned by other companies.
Yeah.
If you look at, and this was what was this? It wasn't.
It was like a little fucking chart that we were looking at. and
Yeah,
it's-
but
They
what
own everything,
Well, there was
basically.
it was a movie that talked about there would be 5 or 6 major corporations that owned everything.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was a documentary or what it was, but it's basically talking about, and we talk about, Zach and I talk about this, we talk about it on the show, this is why it concerns me, because they're going by, like you said, their standard is, we own this, you have to play by our rules. The
Basically,
problem
yeah.
is, YouTube is supposed to be a public forum, free speech. They allow all kinds of crap on there,
Yeah.
but they're not allowing
they
free
were-
speech
they
on
allow
this.
Brazilian porn.
Yeah.
Wait, who did what? Where can I watch?
2 Girls in a Cup
okay.
made it on YouTube for about 2 days.
No shit.
Yeah.
Well, their algorithm was slow, and then I'm sure that they
No,
got fixed.
YouTube was designed
promise
as a
it's
free market social media.
Yeah,
it was
no,
supposed to be
I
the
remember.
only the last bastion of freedom where you could put anything you wanted on.
But then Google bought them.
Well, that's the problem.
Yeah.
And
That's what I was saying.
That's the problem is you've got Amazon, Google, and you've got these social media. So we should be super, super concerned that
Well, at this point, we only have one social media any which way you look at it. Instagram is Facebook.
everybody should be furious about this. Not about the COVID thing, because that's just part of it. Point blank, period. You should be so concerned for your family and your future with your children. They're removing stuff from YouTube based on what they think is supposed to be
We're going
right.
to start being butt fucked in increments
and
of
also,
5 years.
who's to say that they're the authority that gets to say?
Well, that's the
what's-
problem.
yeah.
There should be no authority in free speech.
Exactly.
Free speech is free
There
speech.
shouldn't.
And that also in tune, if you say something that people don't agree with, you have to take the ramifications of it. You know, if Zach says something no one agrees with, they can call him out on it.
I mean, you got
but
a
he's
cake
still,
maker that doesn't want to make cakes for
Well, but-
gays. That's their free speech to say that.
Well,
but then
but-
there's the
Yeah, that's
the
different,
ramifications.
though. That's a private business. That's a private business. I don't know.
You could say that YouTube is a
YouTube's not a private
business.
entity. It's
YouTube
public.
is not private. It's actually an IPO, so
Yep.
everybody can own it.
Yep.
Oh,
If you're an IPO, anybody, it's a public company.
Well, then why do they get to say what their terms?
That's
and
exactly
That's
the
what we're
point.
fucking saying.
That's
Yeah.
the point.
No, I
And the
agree.
same
That's
thing
what
with
I'm saying. I agree with you
Facebook.
guys here.
Facebook's doing the same thing. They just talked to the
Which
robot,
Facebook is an IPO.
and the robot actually said to the camera with that weird face he's got now that they basically
I don't like
that
that.
they have certain standards in Facebook and that they will make the call on what it is, and that's what you need to be concerned about, because that's why I miss the old days when people used to make their own newspapers and used to pass them around. Remember?
Let's bring it back.
Like in the 1700s, like the.
Well, no, it was later than that. It
Like
was
when we're-
like
when were
during
people printing
no.
Dude, they did this in the
newspapers.
60s even.
Well, they
I didn't know
and they
anything
did it.
about
They Jewish folks. That's the way they
Yeah.
communicated with each other. The Jewish folks had underground newspapers where they would tell the truth about what's going on in occupation, and they would pass the papers quietly to each other.
Okay.
And then Germany, or specifically the Nazis, would find out the newspaper. They'd raid the print shop and tear it all down
You ever
because
see the Manly
everything
conspiracy theory?
with Mel Gibson.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a
I didn't see
taxi
it.
driver in New York, right? But
And everybody thought he was crazy.
what he truly was, he was a journalist. He
Well,
would
didn't he
pass-
used to be a spook though? He used to be a
Oh,
CIA
absolutely.
spook, right?
Yeah, which that got wiped.
For everybody, what everyone knows, a CIA spook means he used to work with CIA as a spy. Like he was a underground guy that nobody knew about. They call
Yeah,
him
it's
spook.
not any new age lingo.
No, they
Fuck
call him
off.
spook. Sorry, it's an old
It's
boomer
but,
lingo.
Yeah, no, he was. He was a CIA spook. His brain got wiped, however you want to look at it. But what he did was he had a underground newspaper called Conspiracy Theory.
Yep.
And he would go around to different mailboxes and mail them out. He didn't have a large following and made mention in the movie, but that's how they found him too.
But the gist of the movie is he caught on through research onto a huge conspiracy that was supposed to be fake, but he actually found out the truth.
He exposed it.
And
He
it
exposed
wasn't
it.
just the tabloids, though. That was the
No,
thing.
it
Like,
was-
he was finding this in mainstream newspapers. He was
Yeah.
finding it on the TV. He'd spend his time at the library. you
And that
know,
was
like-
based on a real character, by
Yeah.
the way. Yeah. So my whole point to this is everybody, every American citizen in this country or wherever you're at, should be super concerned about YouTube and Facebook telling people what they can and can't post. My thing is, I believe you shouldn't go on there and post, "I'm going to kill you." Like, I get
threats.
that.
Yeah, obviously,
Well, you
those
can't
things
because
standard.
you can't incite. You can't like.
I get it.
Because there are so many feeble-minded people that get on social media, and the right kind of influence can actually make them do something. So I get threats of violence, or I encourage you to hurt this person. I know what you're thinking, but
I'm just
it's
shutting
the only
fuck
line.
up, man.
Listen, it's the only line that I'll draw on free speech. I don't believe you have a right to tell some. I don't believe you have a right to threaten somebody's life.
See, here's where I have a problem. If I look at you and say, "Hey, go fucking kill yourself," and then you go kill yourself, that's your fucking choice.
Well, that's okay. That's
It's
not a
not,
threat
though.
of violence.
It's not, though.
You're not
People-
threatening him.
Right.
You're just encouraging
But
his actions.
At that moment, it's now called cyberbullying, and you're facing felony with manslaughter charges.
Well, first
This
of
is
all,
happening in today's
it's
world.
Brandon. Who really would pay attention?
I get that.
I'm playing.
It's kind of hard to miss. but
I'd miss him. Anyway, but
I
no,
just meant literally
I
miss.
get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, and therein lies the rub, as Matt would say. Where do we draw the line? Where do we look at where government and companies have a say-so over
Right.
what goes out?
I'm
It's
not-
either or.
full disclosure, obviously, don't go fucking
No,
kill yourself. Blah blah blah.
No,
But
definitely.
before
not.
the show, you were saying,
Oh yeah, he was late.
oh, but now he's here.
Yeah, he's here.
Oh, so you don't mean it now?
Shit. Well,
But-
I'm gonna have to rewatch. Or I'm gonna have to watch this.
I don't want anyone to not have First Amendment rights. It's our basic first tenet, and it's the basis of who we are as Americans.
Right.
It's actually what defines us as Americans is our freedom to say what we want to say. I also believe that you're responsible for what comes out of your mouth, so people will react a certain way to things. But I don't believe that anybody should be able to tell you what you can and can't say,
Exactly.
whether it's bad or not. Like, for example, the classic, the N-word.
Sure.
I have never said the word. I just don't. There are people that do. There's people that are raised saying it and they don't know any better. But the truth of the matter is, it's free speech. It's an ugly word. It sucks, but it is free speech. So if you're going to go by what the Constitution says, you could say literally whatever you want to say. A woman can say whatever she wants to say to
Why
me
can Mexicans say it?
because they're brown.
Like Fat Joe? Fat Joe fucking says it all the time.
The truth of the matter is they're brown, and the new age of rap and that is.
I ain't touching this one.
I'm just saying that's what it is. Puerto Ricans and Mexicans are allowed to say the N-word.
I ain't touching this one.
No, I'm just saying they're allowed to say the N-word because they usually live in those communities, and they're also part of the community, and
Well, then here's
especially
my
in
next
rap.
question. Why can Yellow Wolf say it? Is it because he's from the South?
I have no. That one's a mystery, man. I think like Eminem's never said it.
Nope.
And I don't think they would give him a pass. I think that's something he understands from where he's from, and he's obviously has a lot of friends. But I first of all, I've never said the word, so I don't get it, but I understand what people do with it. But it is First Amendment protected.
Sure.
You're allowed to say it. And so what bothers me is if we start allowing our freedoms to be eroded, and this is what people that are constitutionalists fear, and this is, me and libertarians in general. I'm conservative, but I'm libertarian. Is our big thing is governmental interference, and the best way that government gets to interfere with us is through our private companies, is through our people that work with us every day. So like the YouTubes and the Facebooks and grocery stores, oh, you can't shop here because you're not wearing a mask, and oh, you can't do this because of this, and YouTube says, oh, you can't post that video. Here's the problem with the problem with taking that video down off of YouTube and those two doctors. These are professionals in the field. They are certified, they're PhDs, and they work in the field, and they're giving alternative facts to what was put out. Now, YouTube had no problem with all the other stuff that was put out, all the other numbers that were put out, but as soon as these doctors came with alternative facts, they had a problem with it.
Yeah,
and they said it wasn't medically verified and it didn't match up with the CDC and the WHO. Well, that's what I want to listen to. I don't want to listen to the big companies. I don't want to listen to somebody saying you should do it this way. I don't. And that's why
I think anybody still taking stats from WHO right now needs to literally fuck themselves.
Well, they need to do some research. I'll be honest. Most people don't know, and that's the truth. Most people do not know. They don't look past their front page or their headline. And I'll tell you, if you do research on the WHO and what they do and who they're funded by, you'll find out a lot of bad stuff about the WHO. And that's exactly why Trump said we're not going to give you any
Also,
more money.
all organizations are there's a possibility of corruption. So
Very much so.
So I mean,
Very much so.
number one, we found that out about WHO is that they were getting fed information from China.
Well,
I don't think
They're trying to cover their ass.
Well, here's the thing.
For the bigger
The point.
outbreak.
That's a good point. You're right in what you said, and he's right too. I'm not blaming China. You know why I don't blame China?
Because that bitch Carol Baskin.
That bitch
Fuck
Carol
that
Baskin.
bitch, Carol Baskin.
That bitch Carol Baskin. So after we watch Star
Killed her
Wars,
husband.
Has been stabbed.
listen. On Monday after we watch Star Wars, I'm gonna put on Tiger King.
All right.
Tiger King. Killed her husband, stabbed him. Carol Baskin.
You can't convince me that it didn't happen.
I've done drugs.
So-
I've had weird sex.
Weird sex.
I'm running for office.
That's my third husband. It's my third husband. Look, you know what here's what's great and what's wrong with that show. Nothing's wrong with it, and everything's great about it because this is exactly what
I think
America.
That show killed tourism for Oklahoma.
I don't think it did.
Did anyone want to go there anyway?
Who didn't want to go check out his zoo?
I don't think I wanted to see a zoo.
Whatever. I'm gonna go see
And
Jeff.
all right, in all honesty, I really don't approve of. This is going to sound really fucked up.
You don't approve of what?
Shocker
Just
coming
no.
out of your mouth.
Actually, yes, you'll be able
To
to
hear
suck.
you say I don't approve of something is weird. I'm just gonna say.
I actually really don't approve of having that many wild cats.
Okay, I agree with you
that
on
is
that.
dangerous.
Like, in all honesty, I
So
actually
Carol Baskin had a point.
yeah,
Well, she's got
she's
the
still a
same
bitch.
shit.
She didn't have
She's
near as
doing-
many.
but
She
she's
didn't have near as
doing-
many.
But she's doing the same shit.
The problem I
Look,
have
she
with Carol
killed her
Baskin,
freaking husband.
She actually confined them even more.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you look at where they fed,
Yeah.
they get in that little part of the cage.
So I had a problem with that. I love.
Ma'am,
going
can you
to
put your clothes back on, please? Oh.
free the nipple? No,
Friend!
So like the thing is though, I have a problem with Zeus. Son of a bitch.
Get the fuck out. Let's show that, please.
Where did you get that at?
I have a whole bunch of designs.
So
Vespa
she's
shirts.
got tiger
Thanks,
teeth.
man.
We've mentioned to you
Thanks.
a lot.
I don't think you did.
That's fucking
in fact,
amazing.
in defense of myself, I'm not listening to you. Fuck you. You never told me.
Please do.
That's right. It's actually even on one of our episodes.
You said Vesper makes shirts?
Yeah.
You really did? Shit. Well, all right. Vest, I'll give you an order eventually. Sorry.
Can
I
you
called my
make one that
sister-in-law.
says, killed her husband, whacked him.
I have that design.
Fucking A.
The whole phrase.
Put them down here. I'll sell them for you. Yes. All right. So before we get done with the night, I want to bring up a couple of things.
Blazing Saddles.
I did want to bring this up. We're at the end of the night, but we're going to run over a little bit again. But
Another step to get it. Sorry.
yeah, the other thing I want to bring up is the meat supply. I want to just real quick.
You know, my mom messaged me about that earlier, and she said that I need to go buy meat. I don't know what about.
Well, the problem is
There is a shortage.
there's a bottleneck in the meat plants because of with the COVID thing and the supply and demand.
Smithland is a huge fucking issue.
Well, Tyson Foods has come out and said that they have so much food backed up that they're going to have to throw a bunch of stuff away. So it's going to cause shortages because of the COVID thing and what they've done with health departments and
Is
stuff.
it just they can't ship it out or something?
Well, yeah, that's part of it. And the other part is the meat supply, the way it works is they have to send stuff out every day. It has to be constant flow, right? The supply and demand has to be balanced.
Yeah.
Well, what happened is the demand overwhelmed and then it dropped off.
Carl says, nice plug.
Overwhelmed and then it knocked off. So now you've got a backload or they say the bottleneck of food. And there was a Texas farmer who has cows and is in the meat field, and he was appealing to people saying, you know, guys, the one thing we can do to help fix this is to only buy USA meat. Because there's meats coming from other countries that we're now buying. So the one thing that he said, the way you fix it is whenever you look at your meat and demand that it has a labeling on it of an origin labeling that says made in the USA, then it actually says where it comes from. And I think we need to get back to how we were in the 50s and 60s where things were made in the USA and we relied on that. The Industrial Revolution, we were self-sufficient in a lot of ways.
You want some really good fucking meat? Have you had Sunny Hill?
Kobayashi.
Oh, Kobayashi's amazing. Wagyu is amazing. But have you had, like, I think it's called, like, Sunny Hill. It's a local meat place, man.
Never heard of this.
Sunny Hill, yeah.
And, dude, their fucking shit's boss.
What do they do? Just like steaks and stuff or sausages?
You can buy a whole fucking cow.
Fucking A.
Well, within reason. You're not allowed to buy the head and stuff, but yeah, most of the other parts of it.
Throw it in your freezer.
I'll take a cow eyeball. All right, one last thing before we go into Blazing Saddles. Trump,
real quick, we're running late. It's our show. Fuck off.
yeah, Trump referenced injecting yourself with disinfectant. He
think you should get
didn't
that
mean
Lysol.
Lysol. He didn't mean Lysol. He meant they have some different things that they're working on, like he talked about UV lighting and things like that. Trump doesn't really know what he's saying. He hears things from scientists and doctors and he goes, I'm going to say that. And he says it. He has no filter. He doesn't know what he's
UV
saying.
lighting's not a bad idea. I mean, when you look at airwave systems, they're phenomenal.
Well, according to cancer doctors, it would kill the immune system in the body.
Listen, guys. I've had a
What
lot
do
of
cancer
experience.
doctors know?
I've had a lot of experience with UV lights. I've got a tanning bed in my bedroom.
Right
I
there
know
in the Oval
lots.
Office.
I know tons about it. It's totally safe.
So, but
We'll
my
inject
question
it.
about that was on
We'll
Facebook,
inject it. It'll be great.
when they
We'll
talked
just
about
put it right here.
disinfectant and toxins, there are millions of people every year that inject themselves with Botox, which is botulism.
Botulism toxin.
So here's my question to you. Trump's not saying put Lysol
Listen
in
up,
your
Pelosi.
Yeah, not talking about putting Lysol in your veins or any kind of other disinfectant that don't
No,
matter.
we
Do
have-
not shoot it up. Don't see something on Facebook or social media and go do it. Like the COVID medication that's for animals, for cows, it doesn't work on people. So what I'm saying to you is be reasonable and make sense about yourself. If it's on Facebook, don't do it, but you can look into it. Educate yourself and be your own advocate. Now, let's go to Blazing Saddles real
But
quick.
first, as you've seen on Facebook, you'll know that I have an exclusive contract with Juul, making a Lysol
President
flavor.
Obama,
Amazing.
who are you endorsing?
Well, don't get it twisted. It's gonna be Hill Dog.
Hill Dog.
Dude, I saw an article, and it may or may not be true, that she's waiting in the wings because Joe is fucking up.
Yeah. Well, the problem is here's my problem with that is they can't get elected, period.
No, it's not going to happen.
That pair.
100%.
And I don't know if Hillary thinks that if she becomes the vice president, she's going to become president.
Oh, God.
But the problem is she can't beat Trump. And if she's on that ticket, it will bury him.
Listen, no, you're right. Anchor.
What?
100% anchor. Straight to the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah. So let's talk about Blazing Saddles.
Blazing Saddles.
So Blazing Saddles came out in 76.
76 or
I thought it was 76. I could be wrong.
All right, well, you can look that up. If you've never watched Blazing Saddles, if you've never seen the movie, it's Mel Brooks, and Mel Brooks was kind of revolutionary at the time because this is before PC culture became so
74,
prevalent.
I was close.
74.
I was close.
Blazing Saddles, it's a great name for the movie because it was the first black sheriff anybody ever heard about.
I think you said the sheriffs are coming.
But excuse me while I whip this thing out. So it actually, Mel Brooks at the time was making fun of all the social things, right? He was making fun of racism. He was making fun of Jews, and he was a Jew. He was making fun of the male-female balance with genderism. He made fun of every little thing. He was like the South Park of the 70s and 80s. Just like The Office could not be remade today, Mel Brooks could not direct a movie today the way he wrote movies.
Mel Brooks has a movie ready to go now, and they will not finance him.
Right, because the way he makes movies is they're very to the point, so to speak. So quickly, so we can finish the night out. My favorite memory about in Blazing Saddles was when you had Gene Wilder. Yeah,
I already knew.
He's like, oh, your studies are not, but this is my shooting hand. So you had Gene Wilder, who at the time was a super popular comedic actor, and then you brought along what was his name?
I actually don't know the sheriff's
Yeah, we need to
name.
look it up because he wasn't in much else.
Pull up the actor for the sheriff.
IMDb or whatever. So my memory, there's a couple memories. Harvey, what's his name? The guy that was on the Carol Burnett show. Cleavon Little. The guy that was the rich guy.
I know who you're talking
Harvey,
about.
whatever. He was on the Carol Burnett
Yeah.
show. Anyway, he did a lot of stuff with Don Knotts and Tim, what's his name? Don Knotts and Tim. What was the little...
See, I remember doing Don Knotts. I don't remember the
Right.
guy.
What I love about it is that was the edgy comedy of the time, right?
Absolutely.
And other than Richard Pryor...
Harvey Korman.
Harvey Korman, there you go. Yeah. Harvey Korman. Other than that was the edgy comedy of the time, and it would. What I liked about it was, it made fun of everything, all the prejudices and racism that we had. Okay. And if you've never watched Blazing Saddles, it's definitely something you should watch and you should actually pay attention to because there's a lot of funny parts in it.
My favorite part in there was the pie.
Pie was funny.
That old lady brought him a pie.
Sorry about
the up yours, but I brought you a pie.
Yeah.
Hope this can stay between us. That has been censored.
Hope that can stay between us. That's all. That's the best. And so some of it was campy, goofy humor that was like kind of obvious, and
Go on and sing them working songs.
Yeah.
Or even after that, when they're on the hand cart and they go into some quicksand, and the guys come back and they're like, "Oh man!" and they throw a line out to and you think that they're helping them out of the quicksand.
Yeah.
Turns out they wrapped it around the hand cart and they're like,
pull
almost
it
lost a $400 hand cart.
Yeah. So
it's like, what?
So you got to watch the movie, and you got to watch the movie with an open mind because you're going to hear a lot of the stuff that today that would be considered racist or xenophobic or
comedy,
sexism. They cover it all in there, right? Women are women, men are men, and they cover that. And so I think we need more stuff like Blazing Saddles today so we can open our minds up and be a little more conditioned to the world, because there was a time in this country where, the use of a single word didn't shut down a school or.
Well, there was a time this world could actually take a fucking joke.
Yeah, it was 2003 when Dave Chappelle's show was on. And then as soon as they took him off the air, then all that shit changed.
What? That's a good analogy, actually.
That shit changed.
That's a good analogy.
Big
Around 2003,
facts.
2004, he had the show out, but he was still edgy, and he had a lot of problems with
100%.
censorship on Comedy
Yeah,
Central.
they were pissed at him. They were like, I think he actually had a joke, and he said that he had put out it was in one of his most
Dude,
recent
when he did the
specials.
race draft, though.
Oh, that was that's
Well,
phenomenal.
this is actually-
you can take Tiger Woods.
Well, that that too. They're like,
Wu-Tang goes to the Chinese nation.
they're like, we want the black delegation requests Eminem. Whoa.
Yeah.
Hey, hold on.
We'll give you a Condoleezza Rice and Colin Powell.
And we're okay. Wait, you get Condoleezza Rice. You get to keep O.J. Simpson.
So if you're a younger person, most people that watch your show aren't younger, but if you're a younger person and you're watching the show, or you know somebody that is, encourage them to watch Blazing Saddles, and encourage them to watch Dave Chappelle's show, and Key and Peele for that matter. They were a little cleaner than Chappelle,
They were
but
a lot cleaner than Chappelle.
but they talked about racism and everything else.
Think of it this way: Chappelle's very first episode was the racist white supremacist.
yeah, it was.
That was his very first episode.
And you know, he actually
He
told a
divorced
story.
her because she was an N lover.
He told a story. I think it was in one of his specials where he was talking about how he got pulled into the standards and practices
Yeah,
office,
the critics, the
where they were
censor room.
saying you can't say this on national TV, and it was about like it was a gay slur.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, all right, well, I mean, I guess of all the shit that I've said, that's the thing that you're gonna draw the line on. Well, okay, fuck it.
Oh, that was on his
Fuck it,
new-
I'll take it out.
that was
Yeah.
on his new special.
Yeah, on his
Yeah,
new
yeah,
special, he said,
yeah.
fuck it, I'll take it out. And
Yeah.
and he's like, but let me ask you a question. Why can I say this?
Yeah.
And he's talking about the N-word, and
Yeah.
they're like, well, or he said, why can't I say this slur? And he goes, well, because you're not gay. And he goes, well, I'm not a N-word either.
Yeah, that's true. He did say that.
And
yeah.
and that just kind of like dropped it. And he said that was the beginning of the end for him at Comedy Central, was because he stood up. And
Well,
said that
Dave-
shit.
Dave
And then,
never liked the-
He left the show and left a million.
He hated the 14, 15, 16
Yeah,
hour days.
absolutely.
He hated it.
I'm sure,
He wanted to be free with his comedy
I
show.
think it was great in Robin Hood Men in Tights, another Mel Brooks movie.
Yeah. And a lot of people like that movie, man. But so look up Mel Brooks's his movieography or
History of the
discography.
World Part 1.
Yeah, look
Still
it
waiting
up.
for part 2.
And they won't let him.
waiting.
He's got a script, man. They won't let him do it.
Won't make it for him.
But
Won't give him the money.
that's the other thing is, why doesn't he just self-finance it, man?
He could. I really
Dude,
think
you
that
could
he might
fucking
be.
crowdfund it. And
No,
Yeah,
that's the
that's a
thing.
different
we
world
could
now,
crowdfund
yeah.
it, but
we
I don't think that
crowdfunded Jay
he
and Silent
knows.
Bob.
Which is a great film. Have you seen the second one?
The third one?
Or technically the sequel to Strike Back. But
Okay,
Which-
yeah.
it's good.
It's strictly fan based.
It's
Fair warning.
100%.
Yeah.
But it's
it
good.
was Kevin Smith said it was for the fans.
Yeah.
Like
It's
they
so
made it
good.
because the fans paid for it. Basically, he did a crowdfund.
It's
But
so
the
good.
point of the matter is the reason I brought this up. We talk about Blazing Saddles, and we could talk about all the movie and everything else and the different things. But the whole point to all this is open your minds up, be a little more thought provoking to yourself. And if you don't question something every day, if you don't question your beliefs or your regular life, question yourself every day and get out of your comfort zone. Find something that doesn't make you comfortable and be a part of that, right? I don't care what it is, whether it's skydiving or watching Blazing Saddles and hearing the N-word spoken on an actual movie from white people. Get out there and see stuff and expand your horizon. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying you need to do it. And we're going to close the show out. We're going to have a great show next week. Our next week movie is going to be
Lighthouse?
Far and Away from Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman.
Really?
Far and Away?
Yeah, because it's
You don't want to do Eyes Wide Shut instead?
I'm not going to do Far and Away. Are you guys serious? Did you
Far
guys
and
actually
Away?
believe I was going to do Far and Away?
Oh, thank God you're not.
I sold you on it. I should have kept it going. I'd been like, we're doing
Fuck
Far and
off.
Away. You guys would have left out of here going,
No, we would have showed up at the
Be
next show and go, what
hey,
the fuck is that
Hey,
movie
Brandon, can
about?
you give me a ride home? You've been in the car going, what is he freaking doing, man?
Far and Away?
Far and Away. What the
Fuck
hell?
outta here.
We would have just chose our own movie, started talking about
Yeah.
that.
Well,
Like, what are you
what's-
talking about? We're talking about our own
Well,
movie.
what's
you
next
idiot.
week? Next week is the week of
Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Drinko. So
Yeah. So, we open Monday,
Let's watch
May.
the Mexican.
We open
it'll be on
Monday-
the 7th is when we'll be back.
Monday, May 4th. We'll be back open regular hours, 7:30.
It's on the 7th?
Yeah, we'll be the
7.
Oh shit!
So I didn't want to bring up 7. It's my favorite movie. I didn't want to put that out
We
there,
can
but
do
since
7.
you brought it out, we're going to do 7.
We'll do 7.
What's in the box? What's in the box?
man!
I tried to play that of a family man.
Ho, ho, ho.
So anyway, speaking of 7, I want you guys to, as we finish, we're going to do 7 next week. So my mother's, one of her uncles was actually a sound editor on that movie. We went to see it, yeah. He actually got nominated for an Academy for Black Rain, which is a Michael Douglas movie from the 80s. He got nominated for an Academy Award for that, but he did sound editing back in the day when you actually had to make sounds and clip clops and stuff, and it wasn't all, digital and computers. But anyway, I'm glad you mentioned 7 since it's on the 7th, because that is my favorite movie. One of the best scripts ever written.
Most ever.
One of the best directors.
David
It's
Fincher.
a phenomenal script, man. The ending is one of the best endings of any movie.
Any film
I can
ever.
think of better scripts written.
Well, yes, there's better scripts. I'm saying it's one of the best. Can it not be in the top 100?
Also,
I'll give you top 100.
Also, I mean, having one of
Fuck,
your
I'll give you
main
top
lead
20.
actors be a secret for the entire
The whole
production
ad. Okay,
of the
we'll
movie.
talk about it next week.
Like, dude,
But there's so much to talk about with that movie. But anyway, for my guest, Brandon, Zach, I'm your host, Eric. This is Sessions, stream live every Thursday from Shaker's Bar downtown Cape. We'll be back next week, 8 o'clock. We'll be back open, regular business. So we'll be back up on the deck with the shiny new wood. And we'll see you next week. Thanks for stopping by
Really
and
know how to polish wood.
sharing some time with us, you guys.
drain the swamp.